as you can see, it was the Army who lifted the Babcock Trophy last year, coming from 15 points behind and scoring with the last play of the match to win an all-time classic, 43-42. Now, given the Royal Navy were 15 points up with 10 minutes to play, that will have hurt a lot. But they don't have to look back too far for the last taste of success. It was 2023 that saw them lift the trophy in the most historic of rugby rivalries. The fans are out in force, showing their colours and allegiances on this glorious spring day at the home of English rugby. We are live from the Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. It's the Army versus the Navy, and we've got double the action and entertainment. The men are getting things underway at 1400 hours, and the women will be getting going at 16:45. What a day we have for you here on BFBS. Right, there we are at the side of the pitch here at the Allianz Twickenham. The band are in full swing. It's the band of His Majesty's Royal Marines. Some say the finest military band in the world. And things are really starting to get warmed up here. Alongside me, a wonderful Tri-Services presentation team representing the Army, Major Will Reeve, from the Royal Navy, Lieutenant Matt Bowden, and closing it out for the Junior Service, the Director of RAF Rugby, Flight Sergeant Justin Coleman. And of course, I'm here as a neutral today. Don't let the Royal Marines pattern belt fool you, all right, lads? We'll let the Army go first because, of course, you are the reigning champions from last year. Will, just talk firstly about this day and what it means, not just to you, but to this community.
It's a massive day, isn't it? Every year, the weather somehow comes out, just in time for us. The crowds are filling up. You've mentioned the band. The atmosphere is growing. We can hear the warm-up right behind us. What a special day, and with the promise of some excellent rugby, everyone will be looking forward to it. Yeah, you say the atmosphere is building. It's what I love about this is that not a lot of people in the seats right now, but we all know that they're outside of the stadium, and this will fill up very, very shortly. From a Royal Navy point of view, quite a lot to be optimistic about, given the last few years with Navy rugby, kind of building a victory back in 2023, a very, very near miss last year. How are you feeling about today?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, JJ. Obviously, over the years, it's been a little bit of a struggle for the Navy, but definitely in the last few years, there seems to be a positive trajectory. Fantastic fixture last year, winning it in 2023, and rightly so. This is the Blue Ribbon event of the Armed Forces sporting calendar. Fantastic event, not only for the Armed Forces, but all the fans and civilians as well that come in to watch this game. And yeah, the platform's set for a fantastic fixture.
Justin, as he says, the Blue Ribbon event. I kind of ask you this every year, but how jealous are you that this spectacle gets wrapped around this fixture in particular?
Yeah, it's a huge day for everyone in inter-services rugby, to be fair, and although it would be amazing for the RAF to be here logistically, back in the 90s, things haven't worked out that way, but it's still a great occasion of the second round of fixtures with one more to go in Kingsholm in a few weeks.
Yeah. Right, well, it is no secret that the Army versus Navy is a bit of a reunion disguised as a rugby match. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you are watching this with Oppos, new or old. But Simon Hunter, our intrepid reporter, has the job of heading out into the crowd and giving us a sense of the atmosphere.
Well, as the players get ready, the fans are getting ready too. Plenty of colour just outside Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. We're going to go over here to chat to some of the Army fans who are in attendance. Neil, firstly, how special is today?
Oh, incredibly special. It's one of those days where you all get together, you meet up with old muckers, you just have a great day out. And the rugby's secondary, I think. It's all about meeting up with your mates and having a great time.
And can the Army do it again? We saw that amazing finish, 43-42 last year in the men's match.
Well, we hope so, don't we? But at the end of the day, whoever wins, it's a services game.
Well, moving across from what feels like a very real atmosphere out here, people getting ready before kickoff, to something of fiction. I see Willy Wonka with his Oompa Loompas here as well. So we're going to get a very quick chat here with Josh. How are you feeling before the big games?
I'm optimistic that the Navy are going to do it this year, and we're going to thrash the Navy. The Army, sorry.
That'll be an interesting match, yeah. And how special are occasions? How special are occasions like this?
I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's lovely to see so many people from all different regiments get together and just enjoy Twickenham.
Well, we're about to get going with 2025's matches. Let's have a quick look at the story of last year, 2024.
Action.
The battle for the Babcock Trophy, the 105th Army and Navy game is ready to go.
I'm quite nervous watching this.
This year's strapline.
the sea of red and blue.
I'd be nervous watching the first half.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I think we're quite nervous watching the second half. That's the dream, innit? Twickenham, first start.
Yes! Won it! He's happy.
He was buzzing with that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Forward.
Flat.
Very flat. Very flat.
Got good feet, isn't he?
Yeah.
I got poked in the eye there.
Sorry, mate.
Was that you? Probably.
Come on, Toots.
Should be a tough watch, isn't it?
Oh, the cricket boys are ours then, aren't they?
Hey, we've got Fijians too.
To give you space everywhere, haven't we, there?
Yeah.
Nice chamber.
Go on, JJ. Good effort though, buddy.
That's when if that knocks on that, I look a hero there, don't I?
Yeah. Oh, he's done well, hasn't he?
He was rapid though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good, to be fair.
I had a dislocated shoulder there.
Did you?
Yeah. So for minute 7, I had a dislocated shoulder. Should have been a yellow, but...
On you?
Yeah. For reacting like a footballer.
Not straight?
Yeah. Pick up round the corner and the try is on.
It's pretty soft from us, really.
What's the chat under the post now then?
Saying the wheels haven't fallen off yet.
There's still time for that.
That's a killer for us, obviously, forward back wise.
At this point, we're just trying to get to half time and just.
We needed a reset.
When you were in at half time, were you fuming?
No.
More like disappointed, like an angry dad, isn't it? It's like,
This is a killer.
Oh yeah, stinking that.
My head hit both his knees then as well.
That's what we needed.
That's poor, wasn't it, that really, from us, D-wise.
Yeah,
Really
it's terrible.
Now there's width on it.
How's that, JJ? Dotting down?
you can't really celebrate too much because you're still.
Because the scoreline at the time.
You're still in the bin, aren't you? Must have been if the score's the other way around, I'm booting that ball into row Z, but.
Yeah.
Referee trying to get position and makes the call.
Quite a different scoreline now, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like just go for us.
Yeah.
What do you think, moustache now?
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'll
Bring it back.
You got enough time for tomorrow?
This was difficult, wasn't it? 'Cause it was like every time it was like we'd go 2 steps forward and 1 step back every time.
Yeah. It was just quite an attritional game, wasn't it?
How was that?
It doesn't look like it, but I did try and tackle him there.
I am in the way somewhere.
He's an absolute bowling ball, isn't he?
The hitting game's done now, isn't it?
Yeah, we think sort of 2 scores ahead, 4 minutes to go. But no.
I thought I was with him the whole way here, and it was just wider and wider and wider.
It's nice watching you boys celebrate.
Yeah, well done, lads.
To be fair, some comeback, boys.
Yeah.
Well, it is nice to look back at what was an absolute ripper of a fixture last year. I just commented there's quite a lot of empty seats here in Twickenham right now. I'm told that it's because of traffic delays, and actually Kickoff is going to be delayed by 10 minutes, so we're looking at 14:10 to get things started here. I didn't know anyone actually drove to Twickenham on Army Navy, though, let's be honest. I think people are just stumbling their way into the stadium, but it's good, it gives us plenty of opportunity, not just to talk about today, but actually let's have a little look back at that fixture, because that was absolutely one for the history books, wasn't it?
I still don't know what to say 12 months later.
Yeah, we were lost for words last year.
But every time someone asks, what do you want to see today? Do we want a repeat of last year? The answer is no. It was far too close. I don't want to go in at half-time trying to understand how we're going to overcome another almost 30-point deficit. We want loads of points, we want a great game of rugby, but please don't make it a last-minute issue like it was last year.
Yeah, I don't know if my heart can take that. And Matt, that's the thing. I mean, I'm a jock, so I'm used to watching Scotland, so I know what it's like to see victory snatched from the jaws of defeat. And obviously, yeah, I'm back in blue here as well. It was a heartbreaking thing to witness, wasn't it?
I think as a neutral, you would say that was an absolutely unbelievable fixture, and it was an excellent advertisement for this championship. from the Navy's perspective, I know that'll be it was a difficult pill for those boys to swallow. There was a lot of those players who it was their last game in a Navy shirt, and I think that would have been painful for them. But certainly for the fans and all the players that day, that will live long in the memory. One, for being just a fantastic fixture and as I said, a great advertisement, but again, a lot of pain for the Navy players. I know that they'll want to make that right, and the beautiful thing about inter-services rugby is 12 months later you can put that right. So that's why the focus will be on today, and those guys will be wanting to come out and set the record straight.
Yeah, I mean, you say that as being a neutral. I always say that about watching Scotland. There must be a great side for a neutral to watch, but heart-aching to watch as a fan. You are the neutral here today. Looking back at that fixture last year, it was such a treat.
It was great to commentate and talk about. Obviously, at half-time, everyone thought it was done and dusted, and the Army aren't going to come back into this. But momentum can shift really quickly in an in-services game. The guys can off the bench can have a huge impact, as we saw last year, and I don't think we'll see much different today. Those guys coming on have got to bring some energy, have got to change the game and finish it off for either service.
Yeah. Well, today is, of course, part of a larger competition, the inter-services competition, which got going a couple of weeks ago. It was the RAF versus the Navy. Let's catch you up on that result.
Gets the start at loose head this afternoon. Oh, the intercept is there from Gott. Gott's got Ben Chambers on this near side. It's a foot race. Chambers is going to get there, and the Royal Navy are going to get the first try.
Casco, Dave, really good start from your guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gaff. Yeah, just trying to get some ascendancy into the game. You know, it can swing pretty quickly. The only thing that's keeping us out of it a little bit at the minute is a little bit of discipline. But yeah, really pleased with the start.
I mean, I think the RAF were a bit of an unknown quantity this year. They've got the ball at the moment. We're just going to see if this ends. But just as I'm talking to Paco, and do you think that might have been discipline?
Gott stepping in at first receiver. Good hands from Matavesi. On it moves to Chambers. Chambers revs it up. Wrigglesford cuts back. That's beautiful scoring from Wrigglesford. Just changing the angle, the step back off his right foot. Boxall, quick offload. Williams moves it down, and it is Roberts. Roberts scored against the Navy last year. He's done it again this year. Wrapped up by Navy defenders.
The RAF backs are firing in, aren't they?
Williams
goes wide.
Throws the rainbow pass, and the pot of gold is there for Kieran Prescott.
Prescott is in. Squeeze, aren't they?
Big moments as we work into the final 5 minutes of this match. Well, with an opportunity a lot closer than the last one. A simple sand wedge from there.
Or their opportunity to represent today. It's really important. But yeah, these learning opportunities will keep coming, I'm sure. And whilst they might have just been turned over there by the 10 points.
First game in this year's Inter-Services Rugby Championship is over, and it is the senior service who prevail.
Right, courtesy of that victory in Northampton, the Navy sit atop of the log, and they should, if they should win today, the Inter-Services Championship is theirs. As you can see, today's game is the Army's first of the Inter-Services Championship for 2025, and they could round out their campaign against the RAF in Gloucester in a couple of weeks. Of course, if today the Navy lose, the Army win, it still is up to play for the Navy, and they can win in absentia. So basically, anything can happen. Lots to look forward to, but it's going to be a little bit of a wait. We've got a delay on the kickoff by 10 minutes, so at 14:10 we can expect things to get underway. Justin, let's start with the RAF though. That was a strong performance for them. They'll be disappointed to not come away with a win there.
Yeah, with a new coach and a management team in place and a lot of new faces and youngsters coming through, there was a lot of positives to take out of that first performance and first in the service game for them. But their discipline they need to look at. We gave the Navy a lot of points with an intercept try and a lot of kickable penalties that were needless at times. So mentality piece is going to come in. I think there'll be tactical changes as we move into the Army in a couple of weeks' times. But I think there's positives from that first year that hopefully they can build on that for King's Own to improve in some key areas. But again, the Navy managed the momentum well and came out victors with a 10-point win.
So that's the thing. The Navy won that day, but if they play like that today, they could be in trouble.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. As Justin said, I thought the RAF played really well. What I noticed in the Navy, though, they did execute a level of control, a little bit of command over that game for the whole of the 80 minutes, but they were outscored in terms of tries, so 3 tries to 2, and what was notable of that was that the RAF had a lot of success in those wide channels, and I know that the Army will be very aware of that today. We know that traditionally, and particularly the last few years, that the Army are very strong in that position as well. That's going to be a game that's probably going to it's going to be won or lost for the Navy in the wide channels today, and I think we all agree with that. It's something that the Navy have to really come out firing and focus on their wide and drift defence in those wide channels, because otherwise it's going to be a really challenging day for them.
You say they need to look out wide, but a lot of eyes will be in the pack here. Sam Matavesi, a key player. Great to see him in the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Sam's presence in that changing room is what I call a force multiplier. So he tends to galvanise all those players and elevate their levels very, very much so. The fact that he's here today, obviously moving to the back row, gives him a little bit of artistic licence. He's not quite so confined to the rucks and the mauls, so I'd like to see him running around quite a lot today and getting a bit looser. He's a key player for the Navy, and obviously Rhys Williams coming in to replace him in hooker. I don't feel that there's any degradation in performance there at all. Rhys is a fantastic player. Having both of those guys on the field is excellent for the Navy.
Just want to see you nodding away there. Obviously, he plays at hooker at Lyon out in France. Interesting to see him, as I say, in that back row position. Artistic licence, you agree?
I personally, with artistic licence with a few caveats.
Okay.
Great to see him in the back row. Personally, for me, I think with ball in hand, he's more of a threat. We want to see him getting some mismatches today, hitting into that Army back line and giving the Navy some momentum on quick ball to play off. We didn't see a massive amount of that at Northampton. Some of their big players didn't really get ball in hand as much as they'd like. So hopefully they can turn that around today and get their key players and ball carriers carrying a bit more to generate some quick ball for the Navy.
We could be in for a bit of a battle of the back rows here. The Navy quite strong around 10-12, but not necessarily getting it past 12.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Obviously, 2 playmakers, 10, Jake Hanley, excellent player, and then obviously 12, Jordan Gott, who we know very well, man of the match here a couple of years ago. 2 very good players, but what they need to focus on today, which is something as Justin touched on there with the RAF, is that they need to move that ball quicker and get it wider. It tends to get a little bit stagnated in that midfield, which is very easy to defend against. So certainly for Jordan Gott at 12, he needs to probably move that ball a little bit more, release the strength that's out wide. Ben Chambers, Henry Glidden and Craig Duncan, all brilliant attacking players, but if they don't have the ball in their hands, then they're pretty useless.
Well, we'll get into the Army side of things shortly, but let's be honest, they will be targeting out wide, we reckon, from the Army point of view, because they have the benefit of being able to see how the Navy have been playing in this season so far.
Absolutely, and having been able to watch that game in Northampton, the Army stand obviously a little bit of an advantage, and having spoke to some of the Navy guys and asked them how they've reflected, they've been very open and honest and said, we did not get out of second gear. So they're coming with bags of potential, and they're coming with bags of energy to get in through those gears and to start exploiting their plan and put their stamp on this game. But like you say, the Army will be, the Army have a say in things, right? This is an adversarial 80 minutes, and we'll go and talk about the Army shortly, but there's going to be some really exciting rugby in those wide channels if we can get the ball there.
Yeah, well, let's see what the Army have to say about things. Cass Brazier is inside with the head coach, Tim Osmond.
Tim Osmond, how are you going to live up to the spectacle that we saw here last year?
It was a pretty special occasion, fairly unique in going right to the wire like that. We kind of parked it, very proud of what that day was, but it's a whole new year, it's a different group of players for both teams pretty much, and so yeah, we just got to go again and enjoy it.
A few changes in your lineup, but also a few changes in the Navy lineup, so can we expect the same kind of physical battle, a game of attrition out there?
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever be in doubt. Yes, some changes in force, some retired, some injuries, some deployed. It's always the way, and I dare say Dave has suffered the same. And whilst it's disappointing for some, or some have had a great career and finished up, you've got exciting new chances for new players to have an opportunity. I think there's 2 new caps coming off the bench, which is really exciting. So yeah, really look forward to it.
I hate to pick anyone out, but it is nice to see the return of Rocco to Twickenham.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a superstar, isn't he? Especially across services rugby. He's been brilliant in camp this season. I don't think he's played this game since 2019, I think. And yeah, he's been a really good addition to have back into this group. Obviously, I wasn't around when he was playing last time. So yeah, he's professional, he's diligent, he's really good at helping the young guys too. And yeah, he's no mean player either, clearly.
This is your first foray into this year's tournament. Obviously, the Royal Navy have already got a game under their belt, but you've had a training camp out in Cyprus. How have things been in camp, and how is it, this being the first sort of game of the tournament for you?
Yeah, we've kind of had this routine, I think, for the last 3 years now, so it is what it is. Cyprus was really good. To bounce from that week straight into this week has been really neat. We get a lot of work done. The boys work really hard, and this week tapered off, dotting I's, crossing T's, reinforcing what they've picked up and how they want to play. And so yeah, just trying to support them however they want to get in the best state of mind, physically, mentally, and all the rest of it for this afternoon's game.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tim.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Right, I am told that Simon Hunter has survived the fan zone outside Twickenham. He's back inside the ball. In fact, look at that. He's on hallowed ground. He's on the pitch. I wonder who's given him permission to do that.
Well, Dave.
He's along there with Will Reeve, and as you can see, the army warming up behind him. Let's see how things are doing for that lot.
Thanks, JJ. Yes, just about survived, I think, those moments in the car park, Will Reeve. But I'm here on that hallowed turf, as you say, and a game, as we're expecting, both games today, of huge calls. It's been a week of huge selection calls, of course, for Tim Osman and his coaching staff in the Army.
He held the embargo until 12 o'clock yesterday, had us all guessing. A few injuries that have shaped that, but I think the big talking point is Rocco in at 13. A Premiership winger, he's made money off scoring tries, but here he is at a really important defensive position. So we might see a different style of Rocco today.
And in terms of some of the other selections in that fascinating backline, very exciting backline, Solodra Radianarova at 15. Are we expecting quite a lot of a running game from the Army today?
I think so. I don't need to be an expert in rugby to tell you that. The weather's great, the track is great. We've got wingers like Mitchie, Solo at the back, and Cami all want to get their hands on the ball, all want to score tries, and all capable of doing it.
And to getting the ball out to those wide channels as quickly as possible. How pivotal is that half-back pairing, Mikey McDonald and Jack Johnson? JJ, we know what they can do.
But yeah, they play week in, week out. They play for the Royal Engineers together. They played for UCAF together. They're really close, and they both understand their part in the plan. They've said to me, all I'm going to do is put the ball into space, hope someone's on the other side of it.
Well, we heard Tim Osman mention the word attritional a couple of times, and looking at those packs, you can almost feel how physical it's going to be. But an Army pack so well led by Pete Austin, and we remember those final moments of the famous match last year, him celebrating as well. How good has he been?
He's a special player, and he's a great leader. And all you've got to do is look back to the start of that phase of play at the end of last game. He's the one who says, give me the line now, I'll throw it, I'll make the throw, and then they launch from there. That's real leadership and really technical brilliance.
And in the second row, interestingly as well, Sean Beaver, Vili Kotopalavu, some interesting selections there too.
It is, yeah, and Cotto's a big guy. He's played at 6 before, but you don't want to lift him. So the line-out's going to be really interesting today. But of course, the Navy have lost Scott Makepeace, and I think the set piece might not be the traditional reliance that we've had in the years, and we might see some exciting rugby.
Well, it's easy as backs, I guess, sometimes to just think of that back line and leave out some of the forwards, but we're not going to. I mean, speaking of running rugby, Matt Dawson at open side as well. We've seen him in UCAF colours too, vastly experienced player. Very hard to take down.
Very, very good on both sides of the ball. Brilliant defender, but he's the kind of guy you want to give the ball on the front foot, get him outside that 4th, 5th defender, and make backs try and tackle a very powerful ball carrier.
And to touch on something that you found fairly moving, the boys presented their shirts by Lee Halfpenny, obviously legendary Welsh fullback. What was that like to watch?
Jealousy, I think, is the one word that comes, as a fullback and as a Welshman. To see Lee Halfpenny give the jerseys out, it was quite emotional for me. But I think it's just going to be a real boost for the boys, and for Lee to come to Twickenham and to come to the home of English rugby as a Welshman. I think it's a real standpoint for the boys to go into today, take those jerseys. That, remember, they're only borrowing those jerseys, right? They're going to put them in a better place and put them back in the kits, in the kit bag, and hopefully make it a game worth remembering.
As if it needed to be any more special for them, Lee Halfpenny, what a fantastic thing for them to experience. And turning to the Navy side, Kath Brazier has been speaking to someone else vastly experienced, their head coach, Dave Pascoe.
Well, Dave Pascoe, how much does last year's game have a bearing on what's going to happen today, do you think?
Well, no, totally new group, so here we go again, cup final for both teams. There's some changes from both sides, so it should be an exciting game. Both pretty evenly matched, I think.
You always are. It's always a sight to see. You've had your game against the RAF. Does that help going into such a big fixture here, having that win, especially an impressive win down at Northampton as well?
Yeah, I mean it does help because we've had a build-up game, but then obviously that comes with its losses. So we lost Scott Makepeace unfortunately in that game due to injury, big loss for us. But so we're regrouping, for this game.
We know that I don't want to sort of break, but nearing the end of time, you've been such a stalwart for Royal Navy Rugby. Yeah. But does Twickenham still mean as much to you 25 years later as it did, as it used to as a player?
Yeah, I mean, it changes over the years. It's been different feelings, different emotions. So yeah, but this is my 26th consecutive year here for this fixture in a role either on the pitch or off the pitch in this coaching role. So yeah, big day for me personally, but hopefully the group can do it for themselves as well.
You and the Army gave us such a spectacle last year. I know your job isn't to entertain, but are you hoping that the level of rugby will live up to what we've seen here before?
I'm hoping we get off to the same start as we did last year, but I'm also hoping that we don't have the same finish as we did last year.
Thanks very much, Dave Pascoe.
Thanks. Cheers, Carl.
It is great to see how Dave Pascoe is feeling. This is last fixture for the Navy, last fixture here at Twickenham. He's having to wait an extra 10 minutes. Kickoff delayed ever so slightly due to traffic, apparently. We've got to chat about Dave Pascoe. What service he has given to Royal Navy Rugby, 25 years there?
Yeah, as he mentioned in his own interview there, obviously over 25 years of commitment to Navy Rugby. In that time, the Inter-Services Championship and Navy Rugby as a whole has grown so much. And is probably directly impacted by everything that he's done for that, both as a player and now as a head coach. Obviously winning the championship as a head coach in 2023, a massive box ticked for him. Although this is the end of his coaching time, I'm sure he will still be heavily influential and still have a big impact within the organisation at some point.
Yeah, and Justin, ultimately, not just to the Royal Navy, but to rugby across the tri-service. What service? I mean, 35 games to play it, a captain decide. Now, as you rightly say, he will be involved in this fixture, this movement moving forward.
Yeah, having worked against Paco for many years and also with him for UCAF as well, he's a top bloke and a true Navy legend. There's not many guys, I don't think we'll get to 35 caps anytime soon, and people that can give that much time and dedication to a single service rugby side of it. It's hard work. There's a lot that goes into it year in, year out, so he couldn't have done any more, and I'm hopeful for him that he goes out with a bang today.
Well, it is worth mentioning, obviously, a huge commitment to Navy Rugby, to rugby across the tri-services, but this is an integral part of the armed forces. Sport is it's great that we come here, we have a bit of fun, but there's a really important aspect to why we value things like sport and rugby within the armed forces.
Absolutely. It's not a coincidence that the RFU's core principles and values are very similar to that of the armed forces. That of teamwork and respect and enjoyment. And even on Thursday of this week, I was speaking at Sandhurst in a high-performance leadership event with civilian organisations and academies, and they all recognise the value of sport in leadership and therefore the value it has within the military. And for a lot of these guys out here, this is why they joined, and this is why they're still serving today. And we have these people in His Majesty's Armed Forces because this is the opportunity presented to them.
Yeah. And just quickly to cap off Dave Pascoe, let's be honest, the victory today, it would be the fairy tale ending that the man deserves.
There wouldn't be any better way of going out, right? I know he would have been hurting a little bit after last year. Obviously was successful in 2023, but a win here today, 2025, will be massive for him, and something that he'll be, he will have focused on a lot over this season.
But quickly, Will, just a few moments ago when we were talking about the RAF Navy fixture, and I said if the Navy play like they did, a couple of weeks ago, they'll be in trouble today. You smirked. So what were you thinking at that point?
The Navy were uncharacteristically penalised at the scrum, and I spoke to our front row earlier today, and I said, how are you? How's your body? How's your mind? And two of the guys looked at me and said, we know the plan. We set the platform, the backs do the rest. So there's a real understanding throughout that team that some people will play the piano, some people will carry the piano, and ultimately there's 15 players all pulling in the same direction. And if they can apply what they've seen a week ago, they'll be in business.
Right, we talk about people who carry the pianos. Here are the Royal Marines, right? I always knew that when we have a bit of a celebration or a moment within the armed forces, the Royal Marines like to either crack fizz or throw themselves off something tall. And so today they have the honour of bringing the match ball in, not just for this fixture, but for the women's fixture, which will get underway at 4:45 as well. And what a spectacular way to get things started here. As I say, the seats are really starting to fill and the atmosphere is really starting to build. We have a spectacular day in prospect, don't we, Justin?
It's just starting to warm up. The sun's coming out now. How that affects the players, I don't know, but loads of sun, loads of beers. Everyone's going to have a great afternoon.
Yeah, we've got the World and Union playing. I mean, Twickenham is even as a jock, I can admit that Twickenham is a fairly special place. But this has got to be the highlight of their year, really, because it brings a very unique atmosphere.
Obviously there's a lot of games here played here over the year, but as you said, it's very different vibe, different sentiment. It's very uniting in that sense, like bringing together the armed forces and all the people that support the armed forces as well. It gives a very different atmosphere, an exciting atmosphere.
Yeah, well, we say it's uniting, but of course this is a massive, massive rivalry. Let's start turning our prospects to what's actually going to happen today. Well, of course, the Babcock Trophy holders are the Army in that spectacular comeback last year. Are we going to see something quite as tight, though, this year?
Well, I've already told you I don't want it.
Yes.
But you heard Tim Osman speak. The guys have had a really good time in Cyprus. They're ready physically for the heat. They're ready technically for the challenge. And I think they'll be really excited, actually, with the opportunity to play their first game here, having seen the Navy struggle to get out of second gear. I think they'll be feeling really excited. They'll want to open up with a big first 10, 20 minutes, get a score on the board and just control that game and give what is almost 50,000 people a really good 80 minutes of rugby.
As you say, this is the first fixture for the Army, but the Navy have got a few matches underneath their belt, perhaps not gone quite the way they want, but at least they know what they need to work on, and surely they've been doing that.
Yeah, the results have been a little bit hit and miss over the season. Things started to come together a little bit more towards the end. Obviously, the fixture against the French was a little bit challenging. The fixture against the RAF was some really, really promising aspects of that. Some bits not quite as good, but hopefully they'll be wanting to put that all together today.
All right, it's always head, it's always heart. Will, we know who probably your head and heart are both going for. You're probably thinking something similar, so why don't we leave it to the neutral, Justin? What's going to happen today?
It's going to be a technical battle. The Navy are going to kick contestable kicks to try and win possession and territory. The Army are going to go big guns blazing, loads of big carries up front, loads of pace outside. For me, I think their back line is going to be too much for the Navy to deal with, and it's going to be an Army win for me.
Right, let's wait and see. The volume is turning up here. The match ball is nearly in position. The wait is nearly over. The most historic of rugby rivalries is about to be renewed. Major Will Reeve is about to run up to the commentary box where he'll join Rocky Clark and Simon Ward, picking up very shortly in commentary with the Army versus the Royal Navy. It's the latest instalment in our incredible inter-services sport.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, the absolute perfect setting for another page in the Inter-Services history books. A year may seem a long time, I guess, but I can guarantee that all who were present at last year's extraordinary match will be reminiscing about it now in the lead up to this 2025 event. A really good crowd sat and waiting. Once again, the two boys who shared train journeys back and forth between school and Havant Rugby Club are now the men who lead their teams out here at the Allianz Stadium. Bombardier Pete Austin winning his 25th cap this afternoon, a very special event for him. And there's Captain Jared Hayler about to take their teams into the contest that they know so well. And there is a reception from nigh on 50,000 people awaiting. All the preparation, all the lead up to this game, all the detail that has been put in place. Now we're about to find out whether it's going to come to fruition as the Army and Navy set out once again on the hallowed turf of the Allianz Stadium. Well, before we get into rugby action, we're going to have a moment's applause now for all those personnel that have suffered or been lost in hostilities or conflicts, along with those currently on operations. And of course, with the 80th anniversary VE Day, some very special moments to be shared as we humbly once again say thank you for your service.
This moment will end on the referee's whistle.
And now the national anthem, God Save the King, led by the band of His Majesty's Royal Marines from Lympstone, with the vocals from Lance Corporal Izzy Chadwick.
Under the direction of Major Kickoff, led by Drum Major Matt Abbott.
Well, as ever, you will never see a more rumbustious rendition of the national anthem. Let's take a look at the two teams now, beginning with the team in red. 9 of those starters from last year have the same shirts this year, all bar Radiano Rover, that is. He wears 15 instead of 13. There's the Royal Engineers hinge of Johnson and Mikey McDonald. Brother Cam starts on the left wing this year. Some relative rookies on the bench, waiting, hoping for that special inter-services cap at some point through the course of this next 80 minutes.
Good.
For the senior service, well, just over half of this team were on duty a year ago, mostly up front. Only Duncan and Chambers and Gott are present in the backs. Jordan Gott moving into a new midfield combo this year with Jamin Hoffman. There's a slight rejig in the pack that brings Rhys Williams in at 2, allowing Sam Matavesi to switch back to 7, with Ed Pascoe stepping once again into the engine room. Man on the whistle this year, Harry Walbaum, with his assistants on the flanks, Charlie Gator and Rebecca Piddleston. He will be a familiar figure to many of these players who play in the Championship. For the Army, it's 1400 hours. For the Navy, it's 4 bells in the afternoon watch. For everyone else, it's all systems go. The battle for the Babcock Trophy, the 106th Army and Navy game is underway. Blue or red is the colour today. There won't be many neutrals, I guess, here today. Friends reunited out in the car parks, no doubt. But inside this Stadium Bowl, colours firmly nailed to the mast.
9, use it.
England Rugby's second most capped player, Rocky Clark, sat alongside me. Rocky, you had your first dose of this last year. Hoping for some more of the same, I guess, this.
Yeah, I can't wait. It was so physical, and the second half of the game last year was probably the most exciting rugby I've commentated on in my life, so brilliant stuff.
Also with us this afternoon, former Army fullback and Kenyan international, Major Will Reeve. Well, I've talked to both camps, as you have. The memories of last year are going to play into the psyche of this, whether they like it or not, I guess.
Absolutely, and I think both will just deduce that a good start is important. It's not everything, but it's really important, and you can see here the Navy trying to apply a bit of pressure, putting the ball nice and high. Off it comes from Solo's knee, but it looks like Toots is going to sweep it up.
Well, Radiane Rover not able to get to the pitch of the ball in cricket terms, so having to knee the ball away, and it's going to end with a line out for the men in blue. As a former fullback yourself, Radiane Rover moving from the backs, the midfield backs, into that exposed position at fullback, will that be a feature or even an issue that the Navy might look to utilise?
I think it's always really important to understand what the team's trying to achieve based on that selection, and the fullback has a defensive role and an attacking role. Clearly we've got an attacking choice here, and you know, hopefully the intent is clear from the Army. Get the ball wide, ball in hand, play nice and fast.
Yeah, Radiane Rover, well, last time he was here before last year, of course, he was playing sevens for Fiji a couple of years back now. But a very experienced player with Rams Rugby Club as well, and very much a utility back, so he should have plenty of skills in the locker to utilise. It'll be the defensive alignment, I guess, that will be the quickest and most severe learning curve for him. No way through on that Navy left flank. It's very warm. It's not the 27, 28 degrees that we had on Thursday, but you wonder whether the weather might be a factor further into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like us in comms, we were melting when we first arrived, and the humidity here is really going to sap those legs, and it's such a fast game, and we've seen the Navy start really well, keeping the ball, going from coast to coast, going through the phases, but they're going to be looking to assert themselves, some big players in that pack.
You look at the Navy bench, who've got 6 forwards on there. They know that there's going to have to be some tactical change under the heat. I think Sam Matavesi might know he's got to play 80 minutes, but there's definitely going to be a decision made at some point as to when we start bringing people on.
Taylor picks up, Rutter moves the ball, Chambers into the line, Oh, big hit coming in from Radiana Rover. He sat down Henry Clinton with no invitation there. Hanley with that 10 shirt again, as he did against the RAF at Northampton. Matavesi wearing a different number but playing in the same style. Ball kind of thrown away, and it's Dawson who picks up the scraps, and suddenly the Army get it up over halfway. Sean Beaver, the Zimbabwean international. Again, Radiana Rover getting involved. The offload is there to Kotapalavu. Johnson just held temporarily, but the Army with their first excursion into the Navy 22. Drew Davison, first time at Twickenham for Lance Bombardier Davison. Only his third inter-services cap. Maybe just squeezing that Army attack away and eventually squeezing the ball away. The ball's gone loose, and I think it's going to be allowed. Referees with play, and Nayalo scored a hat-trick here last year. He opens the try scoring this. A slightly contentious call maybe, but referee in the right place at the right time.
I would have put money on Shane scoring a try today, but not in that fashion. He's the 5 metre specialist for the Army go-to when we need him, but we can see, I think it's actually come from a Navy loose offload that's gone back off blue. Shane's in the right part of the field at the right time. Big Fijian scoop up, and under he goes.
Yep, Shane Nayalo knows his way to the try line. This is his 12th year in the Army for the big Fijian back rower. And once again, making impact on the scoreboard.
A little bit of confusion there. No one's brought the kicking tee on for JJ, and he's had to just stand it on its end. Luckily, it's in front of the post, but what a start. We spoke about how important it is to start and that the Army want to get some points on the board. Here we are, 7-0 in less than 7 minutes.
Well, talking to Tim Osman on Wednesday at Gibraltar Barracks, and he said it's so important to get the start. In the last 2 years, the Army haven't had the start that they were looking for. That is just what was needed from a Red perspective.
Yeah, the perfect start. They bode their time. They went through the phases, and then that offloading game, we know they're notorious for that, and they can score something out of nothing. And just that pressure from Nyola, just keeping in the game, running through.
Off the boot,
big power man, 127 kilos. Going to use every kilo of that today.
Johnson goes straight downtown, and Craig Duncan picks up the pieces, scans the opportunities. Left boot finds a good touch. Good work from Craig Duncan there. Been playing pretty much on the wing for Plymouth Albion this season. Indeed, I think he's the top try scorer for the team down there at Brickfields. But familiar in the dark blue number 15 jersey.
And he's got a great left boot, hasn't he? A slightly uncharacteristic, a little bit of a slice there, but he's got a really good left boot on him, and the Army won't want to give him time because he'll punish you.
Austin hits his target, and Mikey McDonald moves it straight out to Dawson.
No.
Dawson playing for his Civic Club Cambridge once again this season. All the colours of the likes of Wasps and Queens. Amptill, of course, Paul Turner's team up there in the woods. An awkward kick again, nobody able to take it cleanly. Looks like it may come back Navy side. Pascoe happy to do the hard yards. Rutter. The Army set up their defensive line on halfway. And forcing that box kick from Rutter. Rutter getting the start today. Johnson. Again, that release, and the Navy defence doing very well at the breakdown, and I think Matavesi had his snout over the top of that ball, and he wasn't going to be moved. There was no way.
No, strong over that ball. He's known for it. He's such a big guy, but his turnovers, he's rapid. He gets the offload, a perfect position for him. But just bides his time here, and then is quick over, just sees that ball exposed, player on their side, low centre of gravity, and nicks it and does exactly what he needs for his team.
I was talking to Ash Coates before the game, and I said, how much difference does it make to open play to have Matavesi wearing 7 instead of 2? And he said none, because he is that good a player that he's pretty much allowed free rein in the way that the Navy operate in the loose.
It was only 2 years ago I had to catch a kick he made. You know, he's not just that player who wears 2 or 7.
Multi-skilled.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course he scored. I remember he scored that try at Brickfields with a kick through and chase and pick up. I mean,
that's it. He's got it all in the locker.
So we've already seen a really strong Navy drive. Just wonder if they're going to go again. Matavesi in that scrum half position.
Josh Williams takes. He'll be glad to still be out there. He only made 4 minutes last year. He's made 10 this year. Taylor. Good balance from the Navy skipper as well. Bakala to Kali. There's the new boy Hoffman. New in terms of this fixture anyway, only his 3rd IS cap. But the Irishman, a relative newbie, having earned his first cap against Marine Nationale earlier on in this season.
Congratulations on your first start at Twickenham. Please line up against Samesa Rokoduguni.
Yes, why not? What's the problem? They know no fear. Oh, Army ball. Oh, and I'll tell you what, Redani Rover is enjoying this first 10 minutes of playing fullback.
I was really impressed with Williams. His defensive drift there, this big second row to try and cover the fullback. Used that touchline really well to make that tackle.
Mikey McDonald swings that left boot through the ball, but Duncan has plenty of time. And his brother Cam. Desperately trying to be more than a road bump. I think there were fingertips there from Bubba Watson.
The Army will be really pleased there, showing their intent, trying to put the back 3 against the mismatches, and then a really good exit, followed up with the first ruck in the Navy half, and then a bit of pressure on the scrum half, and here we are with some set piece on the 10-metre line.
Turn off.
Now, scrummage-wise, it's going to be interesting, and we have our scrum guru to my right, 925 kilos in the red side and 897 kilos in the blue. That means about 3.5 kilo advantage to the Army. What difference does that make in reality, though?
I guess it depends if it's good weight or lost weight. You know, it all depends about the technique. I've definitely played with lighter teams and we've destroyed a heavier pack, but it just depends on the quality and the technique of that front row. You know, interesting scrum battle going on here. And first up, it's about making your mark, getting across the mark that the referees ironed out on the pitch for you. Who can hold it, squeezing, then bearing that chest down. And then there's clear and obvious signs to the referee if there are little shenanigans going on in there. Of course, I won't tell you about the dark arts because that's just the front row club. But yeah, you'll certainly be looking to put one on your opposite number and, you know, do stuff without the ref seeing.
Come on then, go all Flatman on us and talk us through this engagement.
Yeah, no worries. So first up, it's about leaning forward. You see how the Army are utilising their lean. And then free kick early from the Navy.
And Nyala gets straight through the first tackle. Army back onto the front foot very quickly. And guess who's got the ball in his mitts right now? Solo. Kotogalavu. Maybe just slowing the Army attack down. They've got to take this man down now, Shane Nyala. Levi Roper putting it into the heavy traffic to try and dent that blue line once again. Rokadanguni feeds out to Dawson. Dawson eventually pulled down by Hoffman, and it is the Navy who get the penalty. Well, we've got plenty of contact coming through the social networks. Great to have your company with us. Make sure you get in touch with us. Craig Tilley's our social guru this afternoon. Craig, who have you got?
Well, it's so great to see so many people tuning in to watch this historic fixture. On YouTube, Joe Makepeace says, "I'd like to take this opportunity to wish the Navy all the best. It's with such sadness my son, due to injury playing the RAF, will not be playing. Thanks all for supporting him." Of course, Scott Makepeace down with an injury, not in the Navy lineup. Wishing the speediest of recoveries. Paul Hodges said, "I don't know the rules of rugby or football either, and I'm watching to support both the British Army and the Royal Navy generally." Well, I think you'll be happy with whatever result we get today, Paul. Paul Bucknell says, "Watching from Oil Lease in northern British Columbia in Canada, come on the Army." And Doug Kelman says, "Navy ahead, greetings and great game from Germany." Of course, keep the comments coming on the BFBS Forces News YouTube channel and Facebook, and we may give you a shout out later on in the game. Simon.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, Mama Makepeace very disappointed that son Scott's not here. And there's a disappointing sign there because Rhys Williams is leaving the game inside the first quarter of an hour. It means that Ben Mallet will be into the back row and Sam Matavesi will move back to his front row position. So disappointing for Rhys Williams. Really looking forward to this, but that man, Ben Mallet, famous father, of course, with his dad John. I think he's still DOR at Millfield School from memory. Is that?
He is, yeah. I was actually had a coffee with him at Roslyn Park Sevens.
Really?
Not that long ago.
Who paid?
Oh, every school in the country.
No, not played.
Oh, sorry, no, that was on the Millfield chip, believe me.
Oh, really? Oh, as long as you were able to benefit from his position.
Crouch! Bind!
So, a different front row combination now for the senior service, but a familiar one nonetheless. The 1, 2 and 3 effectively that started against the RAF. That pass from Rokadanguni just not finding the right angle of release. What a player. 10 years at Bath, a couple of years at Montauban in Pro de Deux. Was it National? I can never remember where Montauban are. I think it's probably National right now. And now signed up for another stint with Doncaster up at Castle Park, along, of course, one of his teammates, Josh Williams, in the second row for the Navy this afternoon. I'm sure, I think Doncaster were playing Cooley or someone. So if they're not watching live, they will be watching on playback, I'm sure, here with us on Forces News YouTube, or indeed BFBS TV. Rutter. Out to Duncan. Duncan a little bit isolated, but does well to present the ball. Watson winds it up, drives the Navy nearer to that 22. Advantage being played to the Navy. Matavesi steps it back. Rutter and Handy trying to get things moving, and move they do into the red zone in every sense of the word. Matavesi calls and gets. So strong and so well balanced.
So many people he's dragging in every time. They've got to go quick off this.
Watson, one of the bigger fly halves that you might see. No thoughts of a sidestep there, but still making some headway. Pascoe cuts back in. Johnson takes his prey down, but the ball is still there. Hoffman.
Advantage over.
The Navy linking things up, getting through the phases of play. Slow headway, but now it comes. Toots on the roll. Ball is there, they've got numbers out if they need it. It's Mallet. You want impact off the bench, you call for Ben Mallet. So Mallet in the right place at the right time, but the main insert, if you will, is from Bakala Tukali, as he was last year, of course. He scored a try inside that first half an hour. The confidence that the Navy were moving the ball and keeping it working, looking right, looking left, no panic, no forced passes, but then finding that right diagonal line to open up the red defence.
Yeah, I think they played the phases really well. Were being patient, weren't phased by going down a try, just went through it. Those lovely offloading, and then brilliant pass by Matavesi out to his new mate, running on to score over. Mallet with a try.
Well, Hanley can't add the extras. And as we saw last year, points off the tee are going to be very, very important, both in terms of the way the game's played, but also with the psyche, really.
Yeah, not only as an individual, but as a team, knowing you can apply pressure by 3 points or 2 points from converting a try makes a huge difference. And, you know, you don't want to have a game decided by one kick, but it often is. But just to wind back, I don't think the Iron will be happy with that. They really slow off the line, no one adding any energy in defence, and as Rocky said, just giving people like Matavesi the opportunity to get in between defenders and create 2 or 3 tacklers, and that creates the overlap on the edge. So they'll need to add some more energy in defence.
Frank Kelly is going to get an even earlier introduction than he had last year. He's coming on midway through this first half. Just looking to see who's coming off.
Levi Roper.
Levi Roper on. Roper, of course, made a relatively early exit after just, I think, 38 minutes from memory last season, and such disappointment for the new Nottingham man. Just a shake of the head from the 24-year-old as he sits down to reflect on the 18-19 minutes that he did play this season. So changes in both ranks, neither of which will weaken because it's like for like replacements pretty much. Just means different alignment perhaps.
I think Frank's going to stay in that 12 channel. We saw what he did last year. He's a really strong defender, really strong ball carrier as well. I don't think he communicates in the same way that Levi does, so we'll see if he's a blocker and getting that ball wide, but not a bad substitute to have at all.
Duncan sweeps that kick through. Johnson back in position, forced to get that kick away fairly sharpish, with the Welsh fullback breathing in his ear. The end response is fine. Let's get down in, see what the reaction to the first quarter's match has been. Kath Brazier, I think, is in the Navy camp. Kath?
And Paco, a little better, well, a good start from both sides. A little unfortunate to concede that first try. But I think you agree your boys have done really well so far.
Yeah, I think they were a little bit lucky on that touch. Obviously, we stripped the ball and then they've gone in for a try. Pretty even Stevens at both sides at the minute. A few injuries, a few knocks. Looks like it could go either way at the minute, yeah.
Really sad to see Rhys Williams go off, but Ben Mallet then coming on and scoring a try was something else.
Yeah, this seems to be a thing. Every time you come to interview me, they score a try. The same in the rap. I don't want any more interviews.
I think I jinxed you, Paco, but we'll speak to you later. Thank you.
No, it's Jessica.
Well, I'm afraid Kath Brazier is a bad luck omen for Dave Pascoe, because every time she goes to talk to him, the opposition score, and it's that Manayalo again. Let's just take a look. It was pretty much even Stevens, as the Navy head coach said, but then it was Dawson breaking through. The support was there from his number 8, and nobody, but nobody, was going to stop the man they call Shane from gambling over the line there.
Phenomenal footwork from Dawson. That bowling ball coming through with the red scrum hat, finds his support, finds an even bigger bowling ball to finish off the work. What a try, wonder try from the Army to take the lead.
Johnson slides the kick through to ensure the maximum return from Mayalo's brace. Often you get that, don't you, when you get the bouncing ball, it seems to unbalance defences, and that's kind of what set that up.
Yeah, that's it. And Matavesi's obviously done the right thing by instinctively going towards the ball, but in doing so, he's acted quicker than the team around him, just left that little dogleg in the defence that Matt Dawson's been able to get through.
So the Army respond to the Navy try as we move this game into the second quarter. Would you agree, Rocky, with Dave Pascoe's assessment? It's been pretty much 50-50 thus far?
Yeah, I mean, the game's all about momentum, isn't it? And we're just seeing it swing towards the Army now. But yeah, it's they're working each other out. First 20, it's about staying in the arm wrestle. You want to try and keep it close, or obviously if you would ideally want to be taking the lead. But as we saw last year, 29-5 at half-time with the Navy in the lead. They maybe took their foot off the gas a bit. So, here we go, turnover.
Turnover ball, and Kelly throwing it out wide. Ready on and Rover. Unable to find Cam McDonald. But again, another opportunity. Rockadunguni and Williams just reminding themselves that they were Doncaster teammates last weekend. They ain't today.
You can see straight away the decision-making of Frank Kelly. Turnover ball, get it wide. It wasn't the best pass. It didn't go to anybody, but he's looking for Solo, he's looking for Rocco, he's looking for Mitchie. Get the ball wide, get the ball into these guys' hands in space, especially when the defence have got a transition.
Well, 24 minutes gone last year. The Army weren't even on the board at 22-0 down. But Mayalo's 1-2 has made sure that the early exchanges, which the Army have tipped, let alone the scoreboard, you would think now that they're just showing that quick release, as you said, the quick transition will. When you've got the likes of Kelly and Rockadunguni. Gott comes up hard and fast on that release. Mayalo takes Vakalo Takali down, but the ball's still there. Duncan. Good anticipation from Rediani Rovi. They will come back. Harry Warbaum was playing an advantage there.
I think that's quite a generous advantage, although I would say that. You're crossing the halfway line, moving the ball the entire width of the field, more than 10 metres gained. Rovo does a great job to bundle Ben Chambers into touch, but unfortunately they're going to go back to, I think it was a scrum infringement, Rocky.
Given the penalty early, just allows them to get the territory they desperately need.
Pete Austin, who I'm told has just signed a new contract with Rams up there near Reading, so he will be presumably a full-time professional as of next season. Exciting times for him. Good drive from the Navy, and getting the advantage call again. Got in as first receiver to allow Hanley to move it across. It was a lateral, should we say.
Looked like it was 1 o'clock on the time, didn't it?
That's the way I keep time. It's lateral, it's always 12 noon, right?
So infringement there for pulling down in the line out. I think Navy really have a great drive. They really need to capitalise on it. That second bite of the cherry.
Charlie Gato just pointing to the position that the Navy will set this line-up from. John Corp's work now, along with Ben Priddy. Ben Priddy now the assistant coach. I don't care whether he's coaching or on the track. Be sure by the end of this game he will have scored a try somewhere. Matavesi hits Williams, and the setup is there. Matavesi comes back to drive the ball, to steer it towards Market. Still there. Matavesi against Dawson is worth the price of the ticket alone this afternoon, you would think. Crash ball Charlie is Hoffman. Taylor sending it back now. Big opportunity here for the senior service. Working their way up to the half-an-hour mark and looking to get their second try on the board to equal their opposition. It's not going out far from this ruck, that's for sure. Now Rutter gets the call. Hoffman goes wider. Hoffman pulled up short, or is he? No, he's not. Jamin Hoffman celebrates with his first inter-services try, and what a good time to score it for the senior service.
The Hoffmeister's in the building, backed himself, went for a tiny little gap, but love that. The confidence just to go round, pops around his first receiver, ends up crawling, gets it over. What a try for the young man. First start at Twickers. Just shrugs off the defender. Brilliant go forward. And then scores on that second movement. I think it's just touching that.
I think it was a battle between his nose and the tip of the ball to get over the white line, but ref in good position.
He had to score, otherwise I thought Ben Chambers and Jordan Gott would have been a bit upset with that. You come round the corner and you flash like that with an overlap, you've got to score.
Good confidence from the 24-year-old though. Marine in 3-0 commando. Playing his civvy rugby along with many of the Navy boys down there for Ryan Lamb's posse down at Plymouth Albion. So we're back to a 2-point differential with 10 minutes of this first half to go. It's kind of the nature of the game that we expected, bearing in mind last year, and I'm sorry to keep going on and on about the 24 version, but you kind of expected this nip and tuck to go on, and so we've seen. The next score, therefore, could be very important before we hit half-time.
Yeah, I do agree completely. So whoever can get that ascendancy before half-time is going to put themselves in a positive frame. But we knew it was going to be a massive arm wrestle. The Army didn't turn up till half-time last game, but here they're certainly ringing the doorbells at the moment.
Mikey McDonald and Kelly trying to find a way through. Beaver. Born and bred in Zimbabwe, in the Sharks Academy before joining the Army. Actually played for Zimbabwe in the 2019 qualification games for the Rugby World Cup. Earning his 5th inter-services cap this afternoon for the men in red.
Good work.
McDonald swings one through for his brother. Awkward fall there, but recovery well from Glidden. Away for last year's contest, but back on the right wing for the senior service this. Josh Williams drives into the man everybody calls Turkish.
Fully bound, good.
Nathaniel Titchard-Jones.
Back.
Looks like he's shed a bit of timber. He tells me he's lost 6-7 kilos recently, and I did praise him on it when I saw him during the week.
Inside.
I promised I'd mention it. So the slimline Turkish doing his job in the loose, and the boot of Jack Johnson completing the exit.
Yeah, Turk's a real athlete. We went to the High Performance Centre in Cardiff for our training camp a couple of years ago, and he was really impressive, putting a lot of the bigger, stronger, faster guys to shame on the rowing machine. Really, very, very strong, very powerful.
And 21 years of service now. It's incredible, isn't it? Think about it, 21 years.
Yeah, an absolute stalwart, and I won't even begin to try and justify how much time he spent in a scrum. That's perhaps Rocky's business, but amazing effort from a real stalwart of Army rugby.
Don't forget, this is the first of a double header. The Army women against the Navy women will follow on at 4:30. Now let's get a catch up with Craig on social media. Craig, what you got?
Okay, time on.
Well, I've just been looking at the comments on Facebook. Thank you all for tuning in. John Douglas says, here, looking forward to another great game. Come on, Army. Andrew on Facebook says, come on, lads, let's have a great game. Watching from Dundee in Scotland. And Dave Brown, watching from a thunderstorm in Thailand. That sounds a bit dramatic. Yeah, keep the comments coming on Facebook and on the BFBS Forces YouTube channel, and we'll give you a shout out later on in the game.
Thank you, Craig. The Navy rebooting their machine to try and get up over halfway. In the end, Hanley forced to put the ball to the air. Cam McDonald, good to see him back in the reserves now for the Army. He was telling me before the game how much he was looking forward to it. Of course, the McDonald brothers with family here, friends here, plenty of support, as you can probably hear behind me. Plenty of support for both sides. It is one of the wonderful elements, shall we say, to the Army-Navy game. The vociferous vocal content within the stands is just like no other. It is quite special.
It's one of the best days out, and obviously I haven't been in the forces, but I've been a massive fan ever since I've been growing up. I've been coming here to this big game, so it's great to be here. Obviously a bit jealous of the people in the sun, but commentary on 2 games, I probably wouldn't be that jealous in it.
Well, there speaks the person with 137.
Well done,
I remembered.
We can still be friends.
Mind you, it's tattooed on your arm. I can't miss it.
It is, to be fair. I can see it on my socials.
Yeah. You see it everywhere, and well-deserved as well. Many a time she's stood out here. Never at the Allianz Stadium, though. I have to say that.
Yes, I haven't played at Allianz Stadium, but I am playing
pedantic.
I am playing county rugby this year, so
Are you?
We might. I mean, there's a small chance we might get to Twickenham, so you never know.
For who?
For Bucks County.
Ooh, watch this space.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
A bit of life left in the old girl.
Oh, I'm sure. And you'll be helping the referees with their decisions, no doubt, as well.
Of course, I'll be getting my 120 steps in as well.
Yeah.
Waddle around.
Keep your Fitbit on. McDonald gets the call from Kotopalavu as the Army look to test out what must be a tiring Navy defence now. Rokadungani stepping back in the inter-services for the first time in, what, 3 years now.
Clearly holding him in, no penalty.
Played his last England game here back in 2017 against Samoa. Came off the bench and scored a try. There he is. Is he going to get over the try line this time? Ball just lost forward, and the moment is lost in that red attack.
It's a shame, isn't it? It's a really nice bit of work from Shane Nalo up the middle, gets his arms free, drops it off to Ash Horner, keeps the attack going, keeps the ball alive. Mikey McDonald pounces, travels a little bit, and unfortunately just a little bit of a knock-on in that contact area. What a shame.
I tell you what, if you've got any sense, you just want to run off of Nyala. Every time he carries, he gets that offload in.
Just sit in his pocket all match.
I'd just run around in his shadow and then let him do the hard work and then just run off him. Get the glory. Very clever by Horner. See, us front row, we do have a bit of sense.
I had heard rumour, I just didn't want to comment on it.
Bind! Set!
Advantage goes to the Navy as Hayler breaks away. And Rutter slams it clear. Referee Warbaum will go back for that call. Warbaum probably, I would guess, refereeing in front of the biggest crowd he's done. I think it's probably 8,000 or 9,000 he may have ref before. But this will be a big occasion for him as well.
It's just like the players, they have to make sure that they're in the zone, just focus on what's important. But that was a really big scrum from Navy. They've been really even Stevens, but that was the first one that the Army have creaked, and that's how you want to start taking them apart, waiting for them to move, and then you go and attack.
The crowd getting some air to their armpits as we head towards half-time. Now that has got to be hot. That has got to be, I'm not going to say the obvious. Looks like Eddie the Eagle, I think. Navy line-out works, got in as first receiver. Bakala Tukali recovers to feed it back to his man. Goes again. Lindsay recovers the ball, gets the start in that one jersey over Kai Beasley this afternoon, as he did in that RAF game. Hanley sweeping the ball through, and that is a very good kick. Has it kept in? I think it has. Radiani Rover does acrobatically some wonderful moments there and responds in style. Wow. Any doubts we had about them playing at 15 have been summarily dismissed in these first 37 minutes of this match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What a great bit of skill. Dare I say it's making up for the wrong positioning, but fantastic bit of skill, and to then get back on the field and execute what has been a brilliant touch finder.
Well, he saved a 50-22, didn't he, to give the Navy 20-metre line-out drive. And instead, he's took him back to halfway.
Matavesi and Williams combine once again.
Over. Thanks, John, got that. No.
Rutter came on after, 48 minutes last season to play fly half, has that capacity at half-back. Cam McDonald does very well, not only to take that ball, but to evade the clutches of Henry Glidden and get a very impressive kick away as well. Great work from the left winger.
Yeah, really well done. I thought he'd overcooked it a little bit, and he was sort of catching it going backwards. But he's got that great footwork, really short step that allows him to accelerate and get away really quickly. Bought himself a bit of time, put boot to ball, and again we forced the Navy to launch from inside their own half.
Both McDonalds, of course, seasoned German internationals now, country of their birth. Their dad, of course, another military man.
Beyond 15.
Good reach from Williams at the tail. Hanley invites Hoffman to butt heads with that Army wall. Hayler trying to dance around attempted tackles. Good work from Drew Davison. Bubba Watson. Hanley looking back to that left-hand side. Chambers is up on it. Ball beats both Chambers and Radiani Rover. Probably, he says cautiously, probably last play of this first half.
Yeah, be careful what you say, but I think there's a few boys that would quite like that. There's a couple of hands on hips, hands on heads, some tired defenders, and you know, they played a lot of the game over in that half of the field with some sun on it. Left winger on this side, Cammy, not so much. So yeah, some really tired bodies, and McDonald kicks it into touch, maybe?
Well, yeah, Mikey McDonald says enough is enough. It's been a real tit-for-tat first half in terms of tries. Nyalo leading the way for the men in red. Mallet and Hoffman responding for the senior service at half-time. It's the Army leading 14 points to 12.
For the Royal Navy, this is the first carrier-led global deployment since 2021. We went on board as HMS Prince of Wales got ready to go.
Students, stand by for rapid decompression in 3, 2, 1, now.
We're told Dragonfire can hit something the size of a £1 coin from a distance of just 1 kilometre.
Now they're focusing on their old drills, building up those soldiering skills ahead of that deployment to Africa.
We're in the front seat of a Jupiter HT1.
The modern helicopter offers a digitalised cockpit with an intelligent monitoring system.
But the recruits are learning from the best, and they will one day soon become the best.
Do tea cakes explode at altitude? I've come to the RAF's Centre for Aerospace Medicine to find out.
You're here to learn to lead soldiers, so I think I'm quite excited to get on to the next bit.
Having the opportunity to actually do your job, to actually make a difference, then I don't know what more you could want.
Well, a massive piece of history on to watch. More than 1,300 members of the armed forces in uniformed services taking part in a major military procession through central London. That gets underway on Monday at 12:15, and then you can watch the skies come alive for VE Day 80 with an incredible fly past led by the iconic Red Arrows, joined by the RAF Typhoons, F-35 Lightning jets, and other modern aircraft. That getting underway at 20:02. But back to the here and now. Well, a spectacular first half there. There was a little bit of a sense that things could have been a long day for the Navy in those first 5 minutes with an early try for the Army. But we've got 2 points in it. What a match we've got in prospect.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's kind of reflective of what we talked about before the game, with the Navy retaining some kind of control, even though they're under a lot of pressure. When that second try went in, I thought, you know, this could be a long day here. But what you'll notice after both of the Army's tries, the Navy have responded with their own scores. A lot of teams will capitulate there, but they managed to exercise some degree of control, stick to their processes, and not get loose.
Yeah, it's an impressive one. I mean, the Army definitely on the front foot at the best of times, but the Navy, yeah, I think that's the word, are managing to find control within it.
Yeah, the Navy, their maul setup's been really good. Their set piece is going well, and the Army will discipline in that with their maul defence. It's costing them points and territory. The Navy are really working physically for every yard to gain and work their way up the pitch. Potentially overplaying a bit in the middle of the park for me, and the changes coming second half will be vital if they want to get back and ahead in this game.
The Army absolutely lethal though with ball in hand. Senatiki Nyalo, 2 scores for him, and as we say, one of them very early in the first half here.
Yeah, like seemingly from, you know, seconds, you see the ball's ripped out there by the Navy, ball pops out, little lucky bounce, and within seconds, you know, the Navy are under their sticks, 7 points down. That's a tough one.
And a very cheeky finish. He knows how to work a crowd.
He was waiting for the ref to blow. I think he was unsure right away on that one, but a great start in the first 6 minutes to give the Army that confidence that they wanted as a scene setter for the rest of the first half.
Yeah, loose ball once again, but this one at long range again, just showing that they can be lethal, and ultimately the Navy are going to make small errors. The Army are going to be ready to do something about it.
If you give the Army half a chance, they will punish you, and that is exactly what happened there. Loose ball, loose play, the defence is scattered, and within seconds, again, they've leaked another 5 points.
And you've got to give it to them. There's two very large lads there putting a bit of a shift in down the field now.
The last thing you want to do is give Matt Dawson the ball at the tail of that line out and a free run at some of the backs. Again, he's always got really good footwork before contact. He doesn't want to run 30 or 40 metres himself either, to be fair, and blow out of steam, but really good finish from him. I think Sam flew up in the line quite early. Rest didn't go with him, gave him the dog leg, and the Army capitalised.
Right, from a Navy prospect, as we say, we thought it was going to look like could be a long day, but fair play to them. They answered back, and they answered back on the back line there, a replacement, Ben Mallet, the number 20, getting the try ultimately.
Yeah, obviously that man, Vakalutakali, making those hard yards initially. Ball goes wide. Sam Matavesi with excellent hands there, and then Mitchell scoring out wide. Excellent try, well worked. Again, a product of the Navy going through their phases. No luck there. That's hard work, that's hard graft, and hard earned.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I was literally saying at that point to Sarah Bonner of the RAF women's side, Scotland fame, that literally if the Navy can get that ball out wide, they can do something with it, which we didn't really see them do enough during the RAF. But of course, the second try coming here from Jan Hoffman, again, getting the ball outside.
Speed of ball's key for this. If you give the Army time to set defensively within their organisation and come at you, you're going to go backwards. If you can generate that quick ball, keep the Army on the back foot, then you can carry that momentum forward then. Just what the guys have done then with quick hands. And again, that first clearer at the breakdown, allowing the nine to get the ball away as quick as they can.
So it's a tight match, 2 points in it. What is being said in each of the dressing rooms, do we think? We'll start with the Navy.
So I think head coach Dave Pascoe will be telling the boys, to just retain that control, relax, just continue to go through those processes. If they try to mix it up, if they try to match what the Army's doing and play loose, it could potentially unravel for them. So I would be saying to them now is just relax, just go through those processes. The Navy set piece has been working well and they've kicked well out of hand. That's what they've got to keep doing.
Justin, what do you reckon's being said in the other dressing room for the Army?
I think from an Army side of it, they'll be looking first phase, second phase, big carries, get the Navy on the back foot, and then get the ball out the back to go wide. Keep the ball wide, gaps are going to open up. We've seen the Army can offload one-man, two-man tackles, the ball's still coming, so support lines and just keep on top of it. They are 2 points ahead, they've just got to stick to their system, stick to the process, and the next 40 minutes will take care of itself. But tactical changes, guys off the bench, will make all the difference now.
Well, it's a spectacular atmosphere here at the Allianz Stadium at Twickenham. Of course, today we're getting a treat of a real tight rugby match, but this is, of course, about so much more than rugby. It's about the armed forces community. Kath Brazier is catching up pitchside with a very special guest.
Yes, thanks, JJ. I'm here with the Royal Navy Association's Chief Executive, Bill Oliphant, and you'll be close to someone like JJ, also a Scot, also Royal Navy. Proud to represent here.
Oh, absolutely. And great day for the Royal Naval Association to be nominated as the charity of the day. And a fantastic fixture like this, a fight over Queen. But the Royal Naval Association's been 75 years on the go now, and our challenge recently, of course, set up for the veterans who came out of the Second World War. And what we've been doing in the last few years is trying to make it fit for purpose for today's generation and the next. So it's great. So thank you for the support. If anybody wants to donate to the cause today, we'd be most grateful.
And as a Scot, how happy are you to be at Twickenham, the home of England rugby, of course, but seeing the British Army and the Royal Navy, doesn't matter what nation you support in that sense?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. As you say, being a Scot, when I come to Twickenham, I'm always supporting the men in dark blue. More often than not, we come second, but not to worry, it's always a great occasion. Great to be here, of course.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to look ahead now. Of course, the Inter-Services doesn't end here at Twickenham. It will in 2 weeks' time down in Gloucester.
Come on, the Navy.
Does it again. Gilmore on the left wing. It's another Army try. A fantastic response from the red shirts. Williams-Morris, can she get there? It's a brilliant try.
And here come the Army again. Well, there's a try. Well, Army goes, and it's Josh McNally. And the RAF have got themselves on the ball. And surely that is it. The referee's whistle concludes the Inter-Services.
It's been an emotional day for each of those players in this tantalising Inter-Service decider here in Gloucester.
Well, as Kath says, the Inter-Services competition is only halfway through. It's the 17th of May. at Kingsholm. The Royal Air Force take on the Army. Of course, if the Navy win today, well, things are over. But if the Army win that fixture, then it is all still to play for. Any one of the three services could take it home. Even the Navy in absentia could win that one. So make sure you tune in for that one in a couple of weeks' time. And make sure you join us later for the second of today's fixtures, the women's fixture between the Royal Navy and the Army. We'll have coverage here from 4:30 with a kick-off of 4:45. Right, well, let's get ourselves back here into the Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. It's a 2-point game between the Royal Navy and the Army, and the atmosphere here is absolutely electric. Let's get ourselves back to our commentary team, and let's get ourselves an absolute ripper of a second half.
Yes, thanks, JJ. Well, the atmosphere up here on this level is absolutely buzzing as well. I've got Major Will Reeve and Rocky Clark alongside me. I'm not sure which way I'd want to put my pocket money right now, but I'm guessing the first 5-10 minutes is going to be crucial for the mind, let alone the bodies.
Well, the first half has set us up perfectly, hasn't it? 2 points difference, two really interesting teams going at each other. A bit of rugby in the middle, but some really nice stuff at either end as well. And here we are, going to explode out into the second half and see where we end up.
As neutral Nora, who are you going to put your pocket money on, Rocky?
Oh, that is a million-dollar question. I'm just at the moment, I'm thinking the Army has just got that little bit more momentum, but maybe keep clawing back, so it's anybody's game, but I'm 51-49 with the Army.
Clark coming off the fence just a little bit, but there's probably splinters.
It is quite splintery up here, I have to say.
Right, it's going to be tight, it's going to be tense. It's going to be a 40 minutes not to miss, that's for sure. It's great to have your company with us this afternoon, wherever you're watching ships in the Indo-Pacific, in the Med, Gibraltar and the Caribbean, including the RFA ships, of course, military personnel around the world, from the Falklands to Canada, the Gulf to Cyprus and beyond. It's great to have you with us this afternoon. Make sure you get in touch on the social networks. Let us know your thoughts. Craig will be feasting and fielding them through the course of the next 40 minutes or so. It is going to be fascinating to see how both camps work tactically and of course use the personnel on offer. Rokadanguni using that strength to get through the tackle. Kelly, big operator, of course, 6'5", and so useful to have that in your midfield. Austin comes round to be the auxiliary. McDonald and Johnson played together so often, of course, for Royal Engineers and for UCAF. Know each other well. Beaver. Just working their way forward until Niolo says, I want to go a slightly more direct route.
Look who was off him again.
Yeah.
Horner.
Ball's come out. That is very good anticipation. I think it was Hoffman,
and then you played it on the floor,
the outside centre, who noticed the ball had come out. McDonald wasn't in a position to be able to react quickly enough. And the outside centre coming through and ultimately winning the penalty.
It's a great turnover for the Navy. Just getting their backs against the wall, but a great turnover. Relieves the pressure. Make their way back up to halfway.
What you've seen off the Army line-out is they know that the Navy know Big Shane's coming down the middle. So what do? They go one channel wider, they give it to Frank and Rocco, trouble a different part of that Navy defence, and then a couple of phases later you see Shane square up and go through the middle. Really interesting tactics from Jack Johnson marshalling that. It's great.
Matavesi back in his supposed day job with the line out, comes round to take the ball and control of the driving maul. Down Rutter Happy to let his forwards carry on. Russia, another the Cornish Brigade, born and bred.
1-9.
And Civi Rugby for Redruth. Gott and Hoffman almost getting in the way of each other. Russia has to rescue things, but ultimately it's meant that the Army are able to push the Navy line back, and they will have to go again from inside their own half with Pascoe. Halo losing the ball in the contact. The mindset will be fascinating now. It'll be down to leaders. How often do we talk this through? You look at the Navy in particular. Obviously you've got Jared Halo, who's a fine captain there, but you look at Vakala Tukali, who's captain of Taunton this year. Ed Pascoe's captain of Redruth. There are lots of people, certainly in the senior services camp, who have that knowledge of leadership and of the way that this game needs to go. And I'm sure, you know, from the Red camp as well, Pete Austin and co, there's plenty of it, lot of experience in there as well. The talk is going to be as important as the physical, the practical, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely, and leadership comes in many styles, right? Toots is probably going to lead by action. Jared Hayler's going to lead by action, and you know there'll be another couple of guys with a slightly different style where they lead through calmness and through decision making. The likes of Jordan Gott and Jake Hanley in that 10-12 combination that we spoke about before the game.
Ben Chambers suddenly seeing that there wasn't any pressure from red shirts and getting his team back up to almost halfway. Chambers, the third, of course, of the Havant boys, the Havant trio.
Keep moving.
From, way back, and I'm sure those down on the south coast will be enjoying watching this contest. Rutter hangs it high. Well, that's a mistake, and
advantage penalty, offside tackle.
Just looking there, Cam McDonald called, and we could see him call and try and wave off Radiani Rover. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. The ball's spilled, and now it's got trying to thread it through. The fullback picking things up, but the referee will go back for an offside call.
9 in front of the knock.
Confusion in Army ranks there.
A little bit. I think Cammy McDonald's put his hand in the air actually to see the ball. I think the sun has come down in his eyes there.
Good point.
But nonetheless, it's probably more a function of the noise coming from the crowd. It's really hard to hear. You know, Solo was quite central there, and he's moving across. Cammy's on the touchline moving in, both looking at the ball, you know, really hard. And this is where you've got to go back to your processes and trust your systems. I think no matter the kick there, that's Cammy McDonald's ball. He's the one in the channel coming into the infield. And that's just unfortunate. Hopefully it doesn't materialise for anything to the Royal Navy, because that's just really really unlucky.
It's going to be a line out to the Navy inside the Army 22. What's the call from Highland coach Josh Williams, of course, the line out caller for this part of the Navy play. There he is, rising hard and fast, and the immediate drive comes on. Matavesi trying to hitch a lift on the back of it. Not needed at the moment, as the Navy forwards take their team up to within 5 and get the call as well. Matavesi. Hayla. Good D from the Army defence right now. Hanley takes it round to the short side. There's plenty of Army defenders there. Josh Williams does well to stay strong in the contact. Bubba Watson, big man, 6'4" and 135 kilos at the last count. Kelly does well to take the opposition number 8 off his tracks, and this is good defence now. Gerard Vessels will be pleased with what he's seen now, if they can hold firm now, as Hoffman tries to cut the acute angle back against the weaker shoulders. Oh, Makuli Tukali! He did it last year at that end, he's done it this year as well. Last year was in the first half, this is in the second, and this is a big try to put the Navy in front for the first time in this game.
Absolutely massive try for the Navy. Played really well off of that lineup, drew the players in. Matavesi pops out with it. Player couple of phases, get the advantage. And then the big outstretched long arm off the big man. Bakalutali carries so well, been getting through a lot of work this game. Massive score for them, just coming out off the back of half-time. Just might affect the Army's mindset now. Will they start to feel a bit of pressure? Or will they just play? They've still got plenty of time, not chasing with only minutes to go. Just got to make sure they're really accurate. We saw the collision with the full-back and the winger. Without being accurate, they've got to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, change in the Navy ranks. Looks like Kai Beasley is on, and Tam Lindsay will be coming off, and Bubba Watson as well. So both props being replaced.
Craig, JP, you happy?
Just looking to see, yeah, Dom Cleverley's there.
Okay, bear with me. 9.
And it's also going to bring Will Wrigglesford on. So early changes from Dave Pascoe.
No worries. Happy?
Very interesting positional changes. I guess the prop change is not such a surprise, but maybe the scrum half is. I know that Rafter was really into that pivotal position for his control, for his kicking ability, and we've seen that a lot. And now we're into the final half an hour or so of this contest, and Will Wrigglesford has a lot of threat around the breakdown. That's a fair old kicking game as well, as he proves there. Bit long though, and it's going to invite Radiani Rover to take his team up over halfway. Navy setting out the stall. Kelly, Beaver, dragged down in the end by his opposite number Williams, and in the end forcing the kick from Johnson. Duncan just shepherding the ball over the line, and it'll be a
ball line.
A restart for the Navy.
Hold. Ball's not dead. Hang on. You want them now,
plenty of Army subs coming on now. Both coaches deciding. I guess the heat is going to have an impact in the early nature, perhaps, of the replacements. But I can see 4 Army subs in front of me. Messrs. Roberts and Smith into the front row. We will have a look at that as Mr. Dawson takes it hard and fast into the blue line. Johnson throws that aerial ball to Cam McDonald. Davison.
Knees down, tackle!
Rokadangoni just hanging back at attempt to accelerate then into the contact, as does Nyalo. Mikey McDonald gets the call from Kelly. Rokadangoni trying to just pull her through a few threads in that Navy defence, make the gap a little bit bigger for the likes of Sean Beaver.
Still advantage 9.
Yeah, we didn't see much of him in the first half, and the Army are trying to put a bit more ball through his hands. You know, he knows that defenders come to him. He knows he's in a... Oh, here we go. Solarani Rover breaks through.
Well, that man has deserved the try. He's been effervescent through the course of this game thus far. And Solo Radiani Rover scores try number 3. Here is try number 6 last year. But a very significant score nonetheless for the Army at this point in the game.
Such a great carry. It was the offload that came from Kelly. He got upended, risked the offload, managed to get it out, the bounce, and then sweeping through. Radian Rover coming through. Nobody's on him. He's deserved it. He's carried so well.
We spoke about the bouncing ball earlier, didn't we, over the top of the line-out. Exactly the same thing. The defence tends to just freeze a little bit, and then if you're the fastest one to react, in you go.
60 from the try. We've got to get on with it.
A big kick for Johnson and the Army, and he does the job. Let's get on to social media. Have they reacted to what they've seen so far in this second half, Craig?
Well, lots of reactions, Simon, and lots of people watching from all over the world as well, starting with Brode Williamson on YouTube saying, great game watching from my caravan in Spain. And Paul also saying he's watching from Spain, from sunny Tenerife, come on the Royals. Chris Ash on YouTube also says, ex-Gordon Highlander watching it from a rig in the middle of the Gulf. Come on, Army. And Troy also said, excellent game so far, very impressed with the quality and physicality. Come on, you Navy. So lots of reaction coming in, keep them coming. Simon?
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, great to hear your thoughts and conversations going on. As you can see, 4 replacements have happened for the men in red, and critically Luke Rocamoshe comes on for his debut wearing 23, just on the left of that shot there. And this is a man that the Army boys really like. Got raw speed, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can release him on this right wing. Both props are on, with Rhys Roberts and Gareth Smith. Bombhead is in the building.
And it looks like Oni's come on in the back row as well. You see his red headguard in the middle, wearing number 20.
20, yeah.
Number 20.
Oni Nyangi into the mix as well. Now, a big kick. Keep talking about kicks, but we think back over the last probably 2 Army-Navy games, and you look at the way that kicks were not capitalised upon. Big kick for Jake Hanley. 6 out of 9 in that game at Northampton. Sends it on its way, just runs out of gas. So again, the points go amiss, and still the Army keep their noses in front.
The Navy have gone quick, but they've dropped it, and I think the Army have turned it over here, and hopefully we can see them clear the lines.
Yeah, the memories as I continue to talk about kickers. Jordan got 5 out of 9 in last year's contest, and of course ultimately that proved to be critical difference in the 43-42 victory for the Army. And Jack Johnson 4 out of 7 in that contest. Duncan steps 1, steps 2, but steps onto the white line. Almost, but not quite.
We spoke about the attacking threat of Craig Duncan earlier in the game, didn't we? If you kick loose like that and you kick without a good chase, he's going to punish you. And a little bit lucky there that we managed to bundle him into touch, but what a threat he is.
Yeah, initially took that ball really well off that kick, and it just looked like he was doing triple jump at the sideline. But just a bit of time off. There's an injury at the moment.
Yeah, it's one of the Navy boys, and I can't quite see who it is.
It looks like a jumper in the line out, so someone's got lifting blocks on their legs.
Yeah, no worries.
It's someone that they lift in the line out.
Right, we're going to see a new scrum half, and this is another debut in Army ranks, because Jake Cole is coming on for his very first inter-service experience, replacing Mikey McDonald at the front of that hinge for the men in red.
Very experienced player, Jake Cole, outside of Army Rugby. He's a reservist, so another big advert for reservists alongside Cammy McDonald. But if I'm right, I think Jake Cole's played 9 years for the Ospreys down in South Wales, so he's a great guy to have come on the bench.
Yeah, represented Ospreys, Neath and Swansea, the prison officer, a reservist now in the Army ranks. A very exciting player that they're looking forward to seeing how he integrates and impresses within the Army ranks. Chris Mills was that man down, as you saw. But thankfully, looks like he's going to be able to retake his place. Benches being utilised. 25 minutes to go with this heat. No great surprise, I guess, but both coaches trying to adjust things now as we move towards the final quarter.
Yeah, you've obviously got to be really clinical, not force it. You know, you're not chasing the game 20 points and you've got to throw everything. Just make sure you play in the right areas. The subs are going to be so influential.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a really hot day. It's a fast track. We knew there was going to be a few injuries as well. The physicality going into this. So let's see what fresh legs can do.
Well, the Army line-out doesn't work, and it's, I think, Haler who picks up the pieces.
You can see Chris Mills is not comfortable hopping along on the inside of Sam Matavesi there. That's he looks really unhappy.
Beg pardon, that was done cleverly there.
No advantage, first knock on.
And they will come back for the put-in now. There's some big calls to be made by the Navy coaches here. Rory Mitchell is going to come on for Chris Mills, I'm guessing. Yeah, Mills being helped off there. Disappointing short shift there for the Cornish Pirate. Rory Mitchell wearing the 21 jersey. Let's see how that's going to work.
Well, Mitchell's not a bad guy to bring on. 108 kilos, 6'2". Brute. He's going on the flank.
With Toots to 8.
Yeah. Jared Haler has come off, and I think I've missed his exit there. Mills has also come off, so Toots is in the driving seat. There he is, getting the penalty call as well. Wrigglesford and Gott almost colliding with each other. They'll go back for that earlier call from referee Walbaum.
Yeah, they got a scrum penalty, really starting to assert themselves now, the Navy. Just going through. Army just buckle under the pressure. Just lose their footing. Hint of driving up, but they go over the top. Going to opt for the post. Really sensible decision here. Just keep clawing away at the Army. Takes them into the lead. If they get it, which they should. Kicked so well in his previous game.
Hanley
Charlie, just remind them about staying back 5, yeah?
has had a sighter from a similar position a matter of a couple of minutes ago. Still in the third quarter of this game, but big points on offer now for the senior service. Jake Hanley up to the task and forcing his team back in front by a solitary point. Well, as we suspected, this game is going to go to the wire, you would think. The way that it's now setting up, with the benches being used to try and make a difference, to try and make an impact. As we move into the final quarter of this game, will teams change tactics? Will they look for different threats, should we say? look to expose different areas now, because somebody's got to roll the dice, you would think. Yes, we've still got 21 minutes left, I know that. But you just get the feeling with the benches being utilised that things may well be adjusted now by both ranks.
Well, you just wonder if a little bit of panic is coming in. There's a couple of knock-ons coming off the line out. There's a lot of movement. Won the ball. Just a little 1-2 in the air. Wasn't taken cleanly. So we know the Navy's set piece is really strong coming into this last quarter. So they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on the Army. Army perhaps want to just win the ball, shift it away, maybe attack down different channels. Offloading game has worked really well for them. I'd expect them to capitalise on that. But they're big men running into half gaps. The guys off their shoulders. But the bread and butter now at the scrum, Navy scrum.
Set!
Solid platform for the Navy. Going for the penalty, they've got it. It's a way to utilise that scrum, get a couple of penalties from it. And that's what you want your substitutes, your finishers to come on and do. The bomb squad making that difference. Big guys coming on, making the difference. Beasley, Glively, big men. Johnson, 128 kg.
Close. The secondary note is
Beasley,
fine.
125, Glively, 122. Big men, been around a bit.
It'll be fascinating to see whether the game loosens up in terms of set pieces, so that weights may not impact as much as they might do, and whether teams will be looking for set pieces to start phases of play. I don't know.
I just wonder if the Navy are going to tighten up a little bit. You know, their set piece is going really well, so they want to try and force the Army into these tight battles.
Well, they made a change. Viliami Kotobalavu is out of the Army engine room.
Broken away! Keep moving, good work.
So Dylan Morris will get his first chance of real inter-services action. Made his debut against the French Army. Made quite an impact, scoring a hat-trick.
He's scored 3, yeah, plays very much like a back rower. He's not a giant of a second row, but he's always in the good position, and that's why he was able to score 3 tries. I think they were all sort of support lines off line breaks.
Well, has he met Shane Nyalu? Just perfect. Just stick with me, fella. Wrigglesford, good awareness from Wrigglesford. Oh, now that's an interesting call. Luke Rokamoshe struggling to cope with that and putting his foot into touch. Advantage Navy. Little bit of inexperience there from the Colchester man.
It's a really tough one, isn't it? You don't know if it's going to go out. You don't know if it's going to go dead. You don't know who's behind you. You can't risk much. You probably can't hear anything apart from the crowd. And I think he slipped a little bit, to be honest. I don't know if he's going to get fined for wearing blades. But yeah, absolutely advantage Navy here. You know, Rocky's just spoke about how they're going to trust their set piece in this last 20 minutes. And here they are, 5 meters out.
Pascoe takes and sets. The Navy 8 trying to come around the corner with impact. Matavesi's got the ball. It's a penalty try. It's a penalty try from referee Harry Wilbaum. And I think there's going to be a yellow card to follow it as well. Big moment, and the Navy working so well. Just looking to see, I think it's Gareth Smith who's got the yellow there.
It is, yeah. I don't know if the referee's spotted something that Bomed has done, or whether he's taking that for the team.
I think it was a pull down as they came round on the drive. Rocky, your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That went down far too easily. Looked like there was a tackle made in the middle of the drive. So Smith gets his marching orders. So this isn't good news for the Army. Got to really tighten up now, not put a foot wrong.
I think they just need some ball. You know, they've had to exit recently, didn't do it very well, gave the Navy some scrums and some penalties, and they've just had to defend. So let's try and keep the ball a little bit, run that clock down, and hopefully we can move the ball around and not have to worry about being scrummed to death now that we've got a prop in the bin.
Yeah, we're just seeing the replay of the binning of Smith. He ended up diving into the ball that was trudging forward. They'd ridden the first wave of defence, and then he was just running back. And it was just too tempting. Like me at a buffet, couldn't control himself.
I'm saying nothing to that. I'm saying absolutely nothing to that. Thank you. That'll be a first.
Well, yeah.
That'll be a first. Right, well, the canny move between Cole and Austin not paying off there. Now, there's going to be, Turkish is going to have to come back onto the part, and I think it's Nyangi who is going to have to sit out the next 8-9 minutes. Yeah. So, the Army down a man. They're going to go to 7 men in the scrummage. And it's going to be a Navy put in.
I'm glad to see with the 7-man they've got a flanker on each side rather than keeping a number 8. Set. It could be that they could trot down the blind side.
Both to ground, use it.
Again, got offers to come up on the crash ball, but there's a concrete cuddle there from Kelly. Indeed, the Navy have been sent back from whence they came. They still have possession, but in the end, Hanley is forced to kick the ball away. Rocco Moshe, Little Rocco as he's called in camp, because there's a bigger one. Ediani Rover just teasing the Navy defenders, seeing if somebody was going to step up and make a gap.
The Navy will be happy to just stay on their feet in defence now, let the Army have to force something, try and defend with or try and attack with a man down, so the Navy will just set that blue line and hold it.
Cole. Tishar Jones sets it back. Bevo gets good offload. Nyalo just tackled. I think that was Mallet who brought his man down there critically. Army still on halfway, so Johnson has to kick through, but takes the wrong club out of the bag. And it's going to be a line out for the Navy.
That's a real disappointment for the Army. They're obviously going through the phases, trying to find the gap, trying to find their way through, try to go for the 50-22.
Okay. Yeah,
just
keep
booted
going,
it
boys,
straight out.
Let's go.
It's a tough one. It's rolling the dice, but it didn't come off.
Matavesi, all that experience, just taking his time. Last year, of course, he was in Dublin waiting for the Champions Cup semi-finals, quarter-finals, semi-finals.
Something very big.
With Northampton.
9-1.
I know that he was chatting to us on the socials last year. Great to have you with us, of course, this year.
Knocked it into number 6, so knock on.
Well, the knock-on is going to allow possession back into the Army ranks. This is where leadership is going to be critical. We talked about it earlier on. Now, Pete Austin is going to have to galvanise his troops. Give them the chat to make sure they know this game is still very much in the balance. Of course, last year's experience will galvanise and validate that. Dawson stepping into the number 8 berth with the feed from Cole. Pressure coming through though. Dawson has to pick up, does well to salvage that. Nyalo throws it wide. And I think, yeah, Navy celebrating that little phase of play.
Yeah, Dawson did really well there at number 8. Just managed to control it. Obviously a man down in the scrum. But then it was just this offload and clattering that forced it, enabled it for the Navy to have a good field position to attack from.
There's a buzz you could feel in the stands now. Many of these people will have been here last year, but there are still many for whom this may be the first experience, but they will know what happened last year. Duncan slides it through, his opposite number picks up. There's a reception committee who take down the Army fullback.
Not out, not out.
Counter ruck is on from the Navy. Army do well to just stabilise that.
And use it!
Cole up to Nyalo. In his 6th year with his Civvy Club Coventry, of course, previously in the colours of London Irish, of Edinburgh. Such an experienced operator, 35 years of age. Now, still a vital cog in this Army machine. No bowler, of course, this year. He's away on Ops. Corey Vitelli out injured as well. Open space over that side. Radiani Rover has plenty of time, though, to send it out and allow people to breathe.
Much to the front row's delight, I think.
Right, let's get thoughts from the Army camp. Kath, who have you got?
So I'm here with Tim Osman. Tim, I know the answer to this question, really. I don't know why I'm asking it, but the Army can come back from this, right?
Yeah, of course we can. Yeah, not really quite the same thrills as last year, is it? Classic Army-Navy arm wrestle. Yeah, very good in the set piece as ever from the Navy. They've made it hard work for us, and we're struggling to get any real attacking flow going. So, yeah, run to the pump.
As ever, a really physical battle, both sides suffering in that respect, but you've all got strength and depth.
Yeah, we have, and yeah, we're using my bench now to try and make that impact. They're finding it hard. We're down to 14 as well. But yeah, it's tough. They're making it very difficult for us, but it's a long way to come back for us. But yeah, we'll keep on going all the way through. We just need to try and get the ball in the right parts of the pitch, and we've not had been able to do that many times.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Rory Mitchell making an impact off the bench, leading the way. Got trying to throw the Army defenders off balance, but not succeeding on this occasion. Cleverly. Being held up as he got his knee down. Referee says yes, so Wrigglesford can play. Got in as that playmaker, little dab through from Chambers. Oh, Chambers just slipping high on that and apologising immediately.
Yeah, that's not what you need, is it? I think that's a victim of Radirova's great footwork. Just managed to get on the edges of Ben Chambers' wingspan. I think a little bit lucky that the referee hasn't looked to have a chat with the captain and maybe even go to yellow, but that's a bit of a nasty. Yeah, there you go.
It started as a cuddle and ended up something more devious, and Ben Chambers immediately apologising for it.
Yeah, just been wrong-footed and just got caught so hard when you got somebody tap dancing, sidestepping, pirouetting around you. You knew he'd mucked up straight away. Just feel that the Navy are just controlling this last third that little bit better, composing themselves, being clinical, apart from obviously that tackle. The Army just starting to get a little bit of panic feel about them, just forcing it. Just need to make sure, as I said, of Osman, play in the right areas.
Oh, Matavesi takes the present, and has Matavesi taken the Inter-Services Championship for the senior service. What anticipation from the Fijian. What a play! Well, Makala Takali had just come off the pitch and taken the appreciation of his bench. They were still looking the wrong way as play continued, and, well, just take a look at this.
Outstanding, that one-hand grab. Matavesi sprint to the finish. Dives over, he's been phenomenal all game, but just backed himself. He's got super glue on his right hand. Dive to the corner. Just rewards
10,
for the flanker come hooker.
He was in the passing lane for so long. I thought Jake Gold was going to put it over the top of him and pick him off, but no, he's done really well. Strange decision for the Army to try and go wide off the top from a front lift, and you know, because of course that puts the tail gunner right in that passing channel. So here we are, 5 points added.
Well, here's the play. Yeah, the dexterity to pull that in. It was basketball-esque, wasn't it? And what a big, big moment. I'm not going to say anything because this game is never over till it's over, as we know. But that is a big sway and a big swing. Kelly using all of his 6'5" frame to make sure that came back. Cole trying to make up for that pass. Oh, the break is on from Dylan Morris. Support from, just looking to see, I think Gareth Smith's back on the park, is he? I'm just looking to see whether Rockadungoni out to Kelly. Kelly out of the one. Oh, Cameron MacDonald did very well to control that ball ultimately, but it wasn't a sweet pass, so it didn't allow the flow to continue. Rockadungoni in as first playmaker. Cole looks for the runners coming off his shoulder. I think Kelly called but couldn't get there, but Tichard Jones did. Turkish is in the building. Turkish is on the try scoring, and this match is alive once again.
Totally different Army team there in the last 60 seconds. Moving the ball around, keeping it alive, supporting players, different players playing at scrum half, adding a bit of variety, able to move that Navy defence around. And I think now we can see the return of the yellow card. We've got Bomed back on the field, we've got Oni Nyagi back on the field, and a bit of energy back in the red shirt. So well done, Turk, who's on the end of a really nice team try.
Tichard Jones really put that pace on. Not often you say that about a loose head prop, but he was flying, he was going downhill at Twickenham. And there was only one way he was going, and that was Route 1. Scoring that try, getting them back in the game. 6 points.
6 points, 6 minutes.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't think I can take another one like this.
Yeah.
Right, let's just have a quick call into our socials. Who's thinking what, Craig? I wouldn't want to put money either way right now, would you?
Well, I can say that Sam Matavesi's family has commented on Facebook. John Dibby Leeds says Sam Matavesi watching from Camberwell in Cornwall, where he was brought up. So that was a fantastic try for Sam Matavesi there. Also on Facebook, John Killer says watching from Kuwait, cheering on the senior service. On YouTube, Gary Rogers bobbing around the Atlantic Ocean somewhere in Colombia. Go Navy. And Dominic Hall also on YouTube, entertaining first half. Go Army, and from a sunny but cold South Africa. Back to you, Simon.
Thank you. Unforced errors not helping the Army sway right now. The attendance, well, nearly 3,000 more than last year, nigh on 49,000 enjoying this. How many are going to be still enjoying it in just under 5 minutes' time?
Well, I reckon quite a lot. I think there's quite a few pints of beverages being consumed today.
You think?
Well, I can tell by how loud the crowd are behind us. I keep getting one special man tapping me on the shoulder, which is really, really fun.
I'm going to get you two to start thinking about your Babcock player of the match in a moment. Big scrum from the Navy. Look at that. That is huge. And those forwards and backs celebrating what is a big, big penalty now.
It's been the tale of the second half, isn't it? The Navy asserted their dominance on that scrum, let them kick the penalty, give them that field position to then put the Army under a bit of pressure. Here we see them go to the, naturally go to the tee and ask Jake Hanley to step up again.
Yeah, the right thing to do. But lots of argument whether there's still a place in the game for the scrum, and my goodness, this is an example. Exactly, yes. As to why it's so important. Really asserting themselves last 30 minutes. These important points.
This could be the kick for the game, he says hesitantly. Jake Hanley, over to you. Job done. Right, Army boys, what have you got? Last year, you had to make up 11 points in the last 110 seconds. Can you do it again?
Backwards.
Matavesi in position to pick up the bits once again.
Line, use it. No, not with him.
That looks like Johnson on for the Royal Navy for his first Army-Navy match, third cap in the dark blue. A string of injuries that's kept him out for years, but he'll be really pleased to get on the field.
Yeah, good news all round from that point of view. Cam McDonald slithers to a halt just outside his own 22. And the Army just need to sort themselves out and try and find the right players in the right spaces. Is that
Here's
man
the right guy for the job?
Rokadungoni has options right and left. Kelly looking for his winger, got back and put the tackle in. Alarm bells ringing in the Navy defence. Nyangi back on the park now. Army back to 15.
No.
Concentration critical now within the Navy ranks to make sure. Oh, Johnson's seen space over that far side. Cam McDonald. McDonald's going for it. Cam McDonald in the corner.
Let's take a moment for Jack Johnson there. What a kick that is. He has the absolute presence of mind to look at the Navy defence rushing up on his midfield and to execute that kick. What a moment that is for Jack Johnson, who now has to calm himself down and look to trust his process and try and put 2 points over.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, McDonald scored a hat-trick here 2 years ago. He's told me he would have given that up to win on that day. He scored one try here. Has he made a difference now? Johnson, though, cannot add the extras. So we have a 4-point difference. We have 20 seconds or so there will be a restart. My goodness me. How's your heart? Possession is going to be critical from this restart. What is the call going to be? Jordan Gott has been told what he wants. Ed Pascoe calling the shots. Everybody on high alert now for the last 30 seconds or so of this game. It hangs. It's Nyalo who takes. Nyalo drives strong. Kotobalavu. It can't happen again, can it? The Army believe it could do. Rokadunguni is just the sort of man who could make things happen. If he's not scoring tries, he could be making them. That man does both, of course. Nyalo, opening brace of this game. Cole slips it back. Recovered, though. Rhys Roberts has to reset position for the men in red. Beaver. Good anticipation there from Hoffman, getting up quickly into the face of the ball carrier. Navy got to make sure they're covering gaps outside. Ball's gone loose. And it's a penalty to the Navy. Surely that is it. Surely now the Navy have bounced back from that huge ending in 24. Jordan Gott has got the ball, checking that it is going to be that, and it is. The Navy have held their nerve this time. They've got themselves over the line. They have got not only the Babcock Trophy, but they've also got the Inter-Services Championship. What a match, what a performance, what a day.
Redemption, revenge, whatever it is, however you want to phrase it. Look at what that means to the Royal Navy, and equal and opposite to the British Army. What a match that was.
Who is your Babcock player of the match? You two have been chatting. Who's the call gone to?
It's the man of the moment. He's been around, he's scored a try. Physical, played like a back, played like a flanker, played like a hooker. The man of the moment is Sam Matavesi. He was everywhere.
The Babcock player of the match goes to that man, Sam Matavesi, for his all-round play and particularly for that final try. So huge, so immense, so important for the senior service. And on the back of last year's performance, when of course Matavesi was watching from Dublin, he has made a difference, and what a difference. It has been immense. Dave Pascoe's last match as head coach ends in success, ends with a smile. Disappointment, of course, in the red ranks, but on the back of what they achieved last year, they will be appreciative of the efforts of their opposition. It has been an 80 minutes of spectacular services rugby, Rocky.
It always is. It was so good to watch, and it was that arm wrestle we knew that was going to come, and it was toe-to-toe right up until the dying moments, and they're the kinds of games you want to watch. So many fans in here. There's obviously a lot of blue jerseys, very, very happy in the stands, but at the end of the day, it was a fantastic game. Friends reunite. What a spectacle of rugby we've just seen.
Well, fun in the sun here at Twickenham. Let's get down to our player of the match, Sam Matavesi.
Sam, I don't know how you do it. Every year I age about 10 years. I can't imagine what you're going through at the moment.
What a win. I think mainly there's a lot of people leaving this year. Obviously got Paco, Rob Jones, and a lot of the players, a lot of the staff. I think that's for them. I think not playing last year, playing for Saints instead. And a similar game. The Army nicked it in the last minute. I think it was pretty close to that. There's a lot of cool heads from Ed Pascoe under the sticks, but what a win. What a win.
I'm so glad you mentioned Paco. Obviously, doing it for him is really important. But also yourself, you started at 7 and you had to come in at hooker because Rhys Williams went off, and then you score a try.
I wasn't expecting to go in at 2 so soon. I hope for about 50, 55, 60 minutes I was going to go in there. But no, it's a team effort. And I think obviously you need the whole team to contribute. That's not the 23, that's the boys that missed out, unfortunately. Yeah, but it's all for the team.
Well done, player of the match, Sam Matavesi.
At the Navy.
Okay, so Jared, congratulations. Revenge for last year, but a deserved win. You absolutely fought tooth and nail there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to credit all the boys. Absolutely dug up blind. It was a 23-man performance, but not only them, it's everyone in our squad has worked really hard to put us into this position. TSG, wives, supporters, everyone. It's been brilliant, and yeah, luckily we pulled it through at the end there.
And a certain word about head coach Paco, Dave Pascoe, who's leaving Royal Navy, well, he's as a player and as a coach at the end of this match. You did it for him, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you can't write this stuff. 25 years of Navy rugby, 35 caps. I think this is his 8th year. on the coaching staff, but it's absolutely brilliant. And here he is now.
Speak of the devil, Pasco. Yeah, every time I speak to you, the other side scores a try. No danger of that now. You have won Inter-Services you have won Inter-Services 2025. Congratulations on your final time as head coach.
Yeah, bittersweet, but outstanding from the group. You know, it's what we prepped for, we asked for. Selection came about. It looked like it was right in the end. You know, a few boys got a few knocks, and we had the firepower to carry us home. But I was still having a feeling that it was going to be like last year. You know, I don't know why. Just in there, like we're still clear 2 minutes to go. I'm still thinking they're going to score and convert.
You're leaving Royal Navy Rugby in a really healthy place. I hope it's not the last we see of you. But a word about your captain, who has a captain's innings every single time.
Yeah, he's been outstanding this year. He's led the boys from the front, and he's going to lead them to go back-to-back next season. That'll be our aim now.
I'm sure you'll be watching. Jared and Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're going to go straight to Pete Austin. I know it's really difficult. You've been in that position, and now you're here in another scintillating match as the loser of the match. But such pride to be playing here and in such high skills of rugby.
Yeah, it's always a huge honour to play for the Army, play in this lovely stadium, and just credit to the Navy. They turned up on the day. We did a few things that probably played into their half, but win some, you lose some. It is what it is.
And just a word about your team, because this means that you will go into the final match against the RAF with the title already won, but it doesn't mean that you will take a step back.
No, absolutely not. We'll use everything that we got wrong here, and we'll put it straight into the RAF, and it's a rugby match that we will win.
Commiserations, Pete. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Well, what a match that was. A little reminder, this is a double header today. We'll be back on air at 16:30 for the women's fixture. Kickoff still at 4:45. Now, I know I make this presenting malarkey look hard, but I often say sport is easy to present when you're winning, all right? And obviously I'm in neutral, yeah, but I could not go through the drama of what we had last year with a Navy defeat in the very closing minutes. We very nearly had it again. But Matt, the Navy closed out, and what a spectacular finish to a spectacular match.
Yeah, JJ, I think I said to you about 5 minutes to the end there, it felt like a case of deja vu massively. And that second half, the pendulum was swinging one way and then back. I thought the Army did fantastic, and I thought they might have nicked it again, but credit to the Navy boys, they worked so hard for that, and particularly after the disappointment last year, they fully earned that, and what a win for the boys.
And it's not just the win today. We can see from the table there that the Navy sit on top of the Inter-Services. They have secured both trophies today. That is a massive, massive result for the Royal Navy.
It's huge, and those boys will be absolutely buzzing, and full credit to all of them, but it always comes down to the coaching staff as well. Obviously Dave Pascoe's last game as head coach, there's no better way for him to go out. What an event.
Well, you said your heart couldn't take another repeat of last year. The scoreline was not a repeat, but the fixture really was. How's the heart rate?
High. I said up in the media that the story of that second half came down to the set piece. We spoke a lot before the game about the importance of substitutes, how interesting that interface is going to be at the scrum time, and it's played out there. And I don't get excited about scrums. I'm a fullback, but I got excited about a few of those, and the heart rate was up. Shame we couldn't come out on the right end of it, but I'm the one who said we don't want a repeat of last year.
Yeah.
So it's my fault.
Justin, what a game for a neutral. I could almost just let you have a monologue about how good a fixture that was and where you think the difference was.
You're a lot happier than you were 12 months ago. A lot chattier, JJ. So yeah, I mean, people say, well, scrums win games. Army scrum wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Army line-out wasn't good enough. Maul D cost some points in the yellow cards, so full credit to the Navy. Their drill was on point today, and tactically they got it right, and the Army have to go back to the drawing board because there's a lot of work that they need to do, looking at the RAF set piece against the Navy. So can have all the backline and pace and Fijian offload still in the world. If you can't give them the ball on the front foot, then the Navy did really well to kind of stifle that and come away with the IS Championship today. So there's not many that get a fairy tale ending, but full credit to Paco and the boys. It's I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a man who likes the ball to go through the back line to get it thrown about, but I was the same. You know, once we identified that Navy pack was the stronger of the two, you know, that really became the Achilles heel for the Army there, particularly in that second half with the yellow card.
That was absolutely key. I think you could see that the Navy were targeting the Army line-out. I feel like that was the key point that I think propelled the Navy to that victory. Particularly, as I know we'll talk about Sam's try probably in a bit, but you know, particularly on that, you know, front ball off the top is such a high-risk tactic at such a crucial moment. And for Sam to intercept that, you know, he's got the experience to see that. He was already ready and waiting for it, you know, and obviously it's come away for him with a good try there, which has swung the balance back in the Navy's favour.
Right, well, the volume in this place is about to turn up a lot because it's time for not one but two trophies. Let's get back to the commentary box to talk you through this one.
Thanks, JJ. Yeah, Vice-Captain Ben Chambers leading the team up to the Royal Box. He began today by arriving at Twickenham without his boots. Thankfully, somebody was able to go back to Lensbury and get them for him because he played his full part, as did all those players. Jordan got with Newborn there as well, experiencing the wonderful elation of winning not only the Babcock Trophy, but of course the Inter-Services Championship as well. The presentation party up there, David Lockwood, the CEO of Babcock, General Sir Ollie Walker, KCB and DSO, the president of the Army Rugby Union, and Vice Admiral Andrew Burns, CB and OBE, the president of the Royal Navy Rugby Union. For so many people, this may well be the last time they have their say in Inter-Services. Must mention Colonel Graham Taylor, the outgoing director of rugby for the Army Rugby Union. Many others as well. Dave Pascoe has been mentioned many a time, and deservedly so. 35 caps for the Royal Navy, the most capped player, and of course coach as well, 9 times captain, 25 years involved in this farrago, as he would put it, and now he can finish with a smile, as will that man Jared Hayler. Yeah, there's the smile that was so difficult to bring to his face last year. Doesn't matter what you've come dressed as, you've enjoyed this afternoon, woody or otherwise. It has been, once again, very special rugby entertainment provided by the Inter-Services. The Royal Navy had to wait 7 years for the last time they won the Inter-Services. Well, they've only had to wait a couple of years this time, because they are going to lift the Babcock Trophy and the Inter-Services Championship. Victors once again, the senior service. So once again, it's been a day for the boys in blue, for the fans in blue, but both teams absolutely providing first-class entertainment here at the Allianz Stadium. 70 points, and the crowd here, nigh on 50,000 people having fun in the sun. To Rocky Clark, to Will Reeve, thank you for your company. We finish with a final score that reads the British Army 33, the Royal Navy 37.
Well, if the double trophy lift wasn't evidence enough, it's not just the Babcock Trophy that has been won today by the Royal Navy. It is, of course, the Inter-Services Championship. The Royal Navy topping that with 9 points. I suppose the wooden spoon's probably up for grabs in a couple of weeks' time. Will be the decider at the Kickoff Stadium. But let's be honest, it's a fairly Chad line. But rugby was the winner today. That was a fixture for the ages to add on to last year, which was a fixture for the ages as well, Matt.
Yeah, this fixture is just, in the last few years, it's much more competitive now. It's fantastic. It's a great day for everyone. Like you said, rugby is very much the winner, JJ, but especially for the armed forces as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but of course the Royal Navy were the winners today as well. We kind of talked about what was being said at half-time. We said that the Navy kind of needed to trust its process. We said the Army needed to maintain that pressure. But ultimately, it was the Navy that came straight out the blocks, getting those first points crucially on the board in the second half. And actually, the real mood in this place changed, and the Navy really controlled that second half, didn't they, Justin?
Yeah, we saw momentum swing quite often with it. The bench for the Navy made impact. I think tactically Paco got that right in terms of the timing changes for the front row early with the guys flagging, so bringing that energy, and then just living off the Army's errors, to be honest. Some of the penalties that they gave away, some of the poor decisions that they made, tactically their systems looked frayed around the edges, and I think there's work there for them to do, but some Matt Avese effect. Every year, when he's involved, things happen. There's not many guys, hookers, that will pick that up and finish it in the corner, or chip and chase and catch their own ball, like we've seen in previous years, so he's made the difference today. He was missed last year, and they just go to show what they can do when he's on for 80 minutes.
Yeah, he was spectacular. Kath Brazier is catching up with Jordan Gott, I believe.
Jordan, the pressure that you guys build up every single year is unbearable, but how enjoyable is it to play in those matches?
Well, I think, look at the lads' faces now. Everyone's buzzing, no one can believe it. It's massive. I think it won't sit in for another 10, 15 minutes. When we get inside, everyone's relaxed a bit, then it'll hit us. You can see a few senior boys with tears in their eyes, so it's massive. This is huge. It's the highlight of our year.
And I know you've got a lot of people leaving, but obviously you've got a lot of strength and depth coming up as well. But not only are you Army-Navy champions, you're Inter-Services champions. How special is that to win that in one weekend?
Oh, it's enormous. I mean, like you said, we've got loads of lads leaving. I'll be one of them. It's probably my last year. But the young lads coming through are replacing us with just as good, if not better. So I don't think this is coming to the end of it for our winning streak. I think we can start to build on this. But yeah, it's enormous. I don't really know what to say right now.
Well, I mean, people can score tries. I'm not saying they're easy to do, but you have all that pressure with your kicking boots, and you did such a good job last year, and it didn't go in your favour. But you're so solid today.
Yeah, when you play against the Army, they've got enough talent that for 10 seconds you switch off, they score 2 tries. So today, I had to run back there and make a shot there. It's not easy, and the Army never give in. So, yeah, I'm buzzed. I don't really know what to say.
OK, I'll let you go off and celebrate. Thank you very much, Jordan.
See you later. Thank you.
Some big celebrations tonight, and a few sore heads tomorrow as well, particularly for the Royal Navy. Let's get into it with the tries. This just coming after the second half, a fantastic finish for the Royal Marine Vaka Lukakali. This really was the momentum swing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't think there's a coach in the world that wouldn't say at half-time we need to get the first score once we get back out on that pitch, and that's exactly what the Navy did. It made a big difference going forward.
Well, I think all credit to the Navy, but the Army are going to be frustrated, particularly as that second try in the second half, it ultimately comes off a penalty try, and then you get Matt Avese backing that up. Of all the people, and he was down in our corner celebrating in front of us. In fact, I think I'm in shock. It was a pretty spectacular storyline.
It was, and absolutely right, the Army are going to be frustrated. I think the issue was they just couldn't connect good period after good period after good period. They were up and they were down, they were up and they were down, and unfortunately, in those down periods, the Navy were able to capitalise and concede and score some points, or at the very least, have periods of possession and field position. So they'll be frustrated that they weren't able to string those periods together.
Justin, let's be honest, when we came into this, in some ways that wasn't the result we expected. I think we were thinking that the Army had it in their favour. What do you think the sort of crucial difference today was? How did the Navy manage to sort of find what they couldn't find a couple of weeks ago, even though they did beat the Royal
I think for me it's systems, okay? They're not individual errors that the Army have conceded. That they've got some individually talented players, but the systems aren't there. of how they fold and form around the ruck to prevent the toots try, how they defend the maul, to go up off the top at the front and expect a long ball between 9 and 10. They're system errors, they're not individuals. So I think a lot of that comes down to the coaching input and how you manage. They've got the talent, they've got the individual stuff, but it's gelling them as a team, getting them flowing from units and set piece into attack and defence as well. That does take a bit of time, but they've had that, and I think it's cost them today.
Well, like he says, it's partly down to the coaching. Jeff Pascoe, a fairy tale ending to 25 years of incredible service. 35 caps himself for the Royal Navy, captained the Royal Navy, head coach for so many years now, and what a way to finish.
Yeah, Dave's influence on the RNIU is obviously massive, and you know, we can't understate that. He's been absolutely fantastic, and like we said, there is no better way of going out than being inter-services champion.
Yeah. Right, as we say, for the Army, a little bit of frustration today. What do they have to do between now and a couple of weeks in Kickoff?
I think it's more important what they don't have to do. They don't have to panic. They don't have to make wholesale change. They'll all know what's gone wrong, but they also know that the RAF are a different opposition. It's a different event. It's a different experience. So never go back to the drawing board, because it means you've left it. Never leave the drawing board, but just go back to calm preparation, play your game of rugby, and go and play what's in front of you in Kingston Park in 2 weeks' time.
Well, I say the Inter-Services Championship is not over. You can be back here on the 17th of May. Well, not here at Kickoff for the next part, but today, and so far, it is all about the Royal Navy, the winners of the Bagpop Trophy, the winner of the Inter-Services Trophy, and you can see from a man there, Sam Matavesi, who's no stranger to a bit of silverware, how much this means. But it is not over for today at the Allianz in Twickenham. We will be turning our attention to the women's fixture. Coverage of that getting underway at 4:30 and the kickoff at 4:45. But a big thank you to all of our guests here at the Allianz Twickenham. Let's hope for another absolute ripper. Enjoy your night tonight and enjoy your sore head tomorrow.